What's up, YouTube? I'm Robert, and this is the B1KER Bar Podcast live stream, episode 94. This one is going to be a rather impromptu show because, I'm supposed to go out of town with the lady today, or this weekend, and for whatever reason, that just didn't play out the way that it was supposed to. And since we're going on vacation in like a week, I wanted to go ahead and do a show anyway because it's been sparse this summer. I also just realized as I was getting ready for this show that I never put the podcast of last week out. So those of you guys that are wondering why it's not on the podcast apps, it's because I'm apparently forgetful. So tomorrow there will be two. So that'll be fun. Anyways, I want to mention a few things to you guys. Do me a favor. If you like the shirts that you see me wearing, the biker shirts, like this demonetized one that I have on right now, you can swing by the biker shop on biker.com, B1KER.com. And there's a bunch of shirts over there. And basically, if you buy one, it's like giving me $5 and you get a cool shirt. So the prices aren't like, oh my God, I can't believe he's selling that t-shirt for $30. He's probably making a fortune. No, I always set them $5 more than what they cost. And so that is what it is. It would be, it helps out the channel whenever people buy the merch and stuff like that. And honestly, I've never seen somebody randomly wearing one of the biker shirts. That would be really cool. That and the stickers. I've never driven past like a car just randomly on the highway and saw a biker sticker on the window, which is like one of my life goals right now. So if you want a sticker, you can swing by Patreon and join the $5 tier. I think it's called the Happy Hour tier. And you get a sticker pack. And then if you're in Northern California or somewhere else that I tend to be, put it on your window, drive around all the time, wait for me to find it. And then I'll be super excited. You'll make my year if you have a biker sticker on your window. The new sticker pack actually has a BK Bar sticker in the sticker pack as well as a biker sticker. So if you're a podcast listener only, now we got something for you there too. Which reminds me, I need to make a BK Bar shirt. I will do that maybe sometime this week, and I'll put that up on the shop and you can check it out. So there's some fun stuff over there. I took a bunch of old stuff down. So those of you guys that bought that merch, it's gone. So you're like an OG biker fan now. Anyways, outside of that, please do me a favor, swing by my social media like Instagram or Facebook and give me a follow over there because I like seeing those numbers rise. And if you want more content that doesn't cost anything, that's the easy way to do it. It's free. Just go over there and do that. You know what else is free? Hitting the subscribe button. If you hit the subscribe button at the bottom of the YouTube channel, that would be rad because I'd like to see us hit like 4,000 subscribers here soon. And that would be I think that's a steep order from where I'm at right now. So what are we at? August 1st. And I'm looking for another 1,000 subscribers. So how many of you guys that haven't hit subscribe can hit subscribe now? And let's see this thing grow. On top of that, if you like the episode, leave a comment. Like if there's something that you find that's like interesting, leave a comment. I don't get a whole lot of comments on the B1KER Bar Podcast videos, so they're always fun to come in and chat with people that way. Anyways, I'm rambling. This show's, like I said, going to be impromptu. There might be some guests that show up other than Calirado. It might just be him and I. I guess we'll find out how this plays out. The only one way to do it, bring him on. What's up, man?
What's up, Big Daddy? Speaking of impromptu, this might be the first ever this is the first ever broadcast from what I'm dubbing the unsubscribatorium. I don't actually have a name for this thing yet, but the soundproofing is not quite in. If you had views on this thing, I've got like 8-foot soundproofing panels just laying against the wall because I had them in the garage, but they don't fit in here. I got stuff on order, but it's not here. But I said, Biker's doing a BK Bar, I'm jumping in.
There you go. I don't think you do you really think you need all that soundproofing? I mean, you're sounding pretty good right now.
It's not bad. I can hear a little bit of reverb in here. So I've got panels coming in. I'm gonna put stuff on the ceiling to negate it, and then maybe some carpets on the hardwood floor, and it'll sound dead as a doornail.
Yeah, right.
I think it's a saying, right?
I think so. So
Can we start right off, by the way, I've got a mountain biking cocktail tip. I've just come up with this, and I think it's pure genius. You know how like tequila, when you go to Mexico, has a worm in it sometimes?
Okay.
Here's the mountain biking equivalent. All right. A glass of whiskey and a gummy worm, right? This is like the ultimate trail snack. And then you go one of those and go one of those.
Ooh.
There you go.
I want you to get really wasted while we're on the show. Because
no, that's not going to happen. My wife will yell at me.
Yeah, but I'll be egging you on. I mean, believe me, it's going to be good because it's like this. I'm not drinking right now, and I want to vicariously get drunk through somebody, and you're in front of me with a glass of alcohol. So
I feel like if we want to do that, we would just get Moonlight Leatherfoot right in front of us, and this debauchery would ensue.
Just let him loose, huh?
Yeah, dude, absolutely. If anybody could do it, he could. I believe it.
He definitely could. I hit him up the other day, and he did something to his back. He said he's not going to be able to ride for a couple of weeks. So that's a bummer. I don't know. Do you ever have any back issues?
I do, and it's funny because like maybe that's aging ourselves, right? But like I've got that. Everybody's always says it's that sciatica, it's that lower back, and like every few months it'll just pop up, and then it just ruins a week of my like because you're then it seems like it goes up to the upper back, and then your upper back's hurting, and it's a cascade of pain.
You know, I found that I think it's like, I don't know what the sciatica is. Like we could just throw some fucking like
it's like gluten.
Words.
It's like when people say gluten, I still don't know what it means. Like they say, "Oh, your sciatica probably hurts." I'm like, "Yeah, that's probably it." Yeah.
The one I always refer to, which is probably not it either, is the IT band.
Yeah.
So that's like kind of comes along the side, supposedly. I don't know. I do IT, so I figured, oh yeah, I got one of those. And what I found is just stretching. Honestly, every time my back kind of gets out of whack, I just have to stretch a bunch. But I have this problem with everything in my life that's like an ailment. As soon as I do enough work to make it slightly go away, I think I'm cured. And then I don't do anything until it comes back. Yeah. I'm like, oh, I'm fixed. And then stop stretching. And oddly enough, it comes right back.
I think you're 100% right. You know, I think I listened to, I read the David Goggins book, and that guy pushed so hard at one point. He says his body shut down. He couldn't walk anymore. He couldn't get out of bed. Like it was like so bad. And then he realized like his buddy had been telling him like, you just need to stretch. And so he eventually started stretching, and it solved all his problems, it seemed like. So it's like with regularity, I suppose, is really the biggest trick.
Yeah. That's definitely, I'm just so bad at it.
I think we all are. The only person who's not, I can tell you right now, is MTB Allen. That guy's an absolute stretching maniac. When we were riding in SoCal recently, he does pre-ride stretches, and I'm very jealous that I didn't know how to do them. Like, he had a friend that did the same stretching routine, and I was like, well, I want to know how to do that. It's like that.
Yeah. They were like a handshake, like a Pilates class, and you were the guy in the back, like just doing everything wrong.
It's like the 8-year-old in the ballerina class. She didn't study too well, so she's just looking at the other kids, and she can't quite keep up. You know, bless her heart. Bless her heart.
I feel that way every time I do a class at the gym, and everybody's like all synchronized, like the Macarena and shit. Mm-hmm. And I'm just back there like running into walls and bumping into people and stuff. Oh yeah, sorry, man. Oh, not my first time.
Whoopsie.
Yeah. You know, so I the reason I asked about the back thing is just a couple of weeks ago, me and a buddy of mine were pushing a big old tree, like telephone pole sized tree log off a trail out in Sly Park.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man, just the way I was pushing or the way I was standing, it was like, dude, the next day I couldn't get out of bed. Like it was like in bed all day, like muscle relaxers. And, you know, oddly enough, what made it go away is I started stretching. And
I need to make that a more regular habit also. I've discovered that it does help. It's like, oh man, I just need to sit down and do it. Were you out there with Kyle the other day chopping some stuff down too?
I went out there with him. We were doing a little recon. How much of this should I actually say? Let's talk about some illegal shit.
You guys were riding Trail 8 is what you were doing, and there was a tree in the way, and you had to clear it. Is what I get.
Yeah. That's what he wanted to do. Yeah. And he wanted to borrow, I guess, like a hand chainsaw from you.
Yeah, he did. I threw it in the back of my truck, but the time frame just didn't work. I was like, I'm home between 4 and 4:30. That's your window. I'll throw the chainsaw in the back if you can, but he didn't want to bring an actual chainsaw out because he's worried about starting forest fires, which I don't blame him. I'm scared to fart in the forest lately for fear of starting a fire.
So I had one of those chainsaws, those handheld chainsaws in my bag, and I was going to give it to him at the end of the ride, but the chain on mine was probably only like 24 to 36 inches.
Right.
Is yours longer than that?
No, I think mine might be the same thing. It was given it to me by Todd the Saw, but I've never had to use it yet, but I really want to. But yeah, I think it's not quite long enough.
Yeah, I bought that one like back whenever I used to like carrying an extra 20 pounds of shit that I never would use. And it was in my bag for a long time. And I don't know, in the last year or two, I really started turning into this minimalist on the trail. And so now it's just in my duffel bag that I go riding with. And I was like, yeah, I got one of those. I give it to you. And when we took it out, he's like, oh, this isn't going to fit around the tree. And I'm like, dude, if this isn't going to fit around the tree, you should maybe reevaluate how you're going to cut this tree.
He went out there with a hatchet and he was working at it for like 3 hours, apparently.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, there's got to be a better solution to this.
Yeah, there was one like tree that we came up on as we were riding. And he's like, yeah, that tree I'm trying to cut's about this size. And I'm looking at it. I'm like, you're an idiot. like you might as well be like one of those guys in prison that's like cutting through steel with dental floss. You know, like, yeah, you got 16 years to do it. It'll work. But
yeah.
Like, it doesn't make any sense in what you're doing right now.
So Kyle is the Andy Dufresne of mountain biking is what we've discovered here.
Yeah. So, you know, and that brings up another thing. We're going to turn this into a 2-hour rant of things that piss me off.
Yeah.
And we'll just start with this. The other day I was riding on Connector. So those of you guys that are in Northern California and Auburn, there's a really fun flowy, or those of you guys that aren't there, I actually explain it for the people that don't know it.
You just inceptioned, I think, this audience.
Yeah, I talked myself in and out of that situation. But anyways, it's like a real flowy kind of roller coaster trail. You get to go pretty quick on it, and it has some kind of blind turns and dips in it. And me and my buddy are cooking down. I haven't been on that trail in a while. And we're just floating along. We turn one of these corners, and there's a big, like, I don't know, probably like maybe 10-inch kind of tree that's laying over the trail. And I mean, the trunk in its whole thing is probably, I don't know, 20 feet long, 25 feet, something like that.
It's getting very phallic, Robert.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it had these big sack of balls on the end of it. They were like tree nubules or something. No.
Yeah.
So anyways, like, my buddy and I stop and we're like, man, well, looks like we can get this thing off the trail. And the two of us end up like working our way and getting it off the trail, right? So everybody else can come through there and not screw up their Strava times. And the thing that irritated me was we passed like several groups of like large groups of people that were riding on that ride. And it was like, so here you are riding with like 6 of your buddies, and you come up on a tree and you can't move it out of the fucking way. And it takes like 2 guys to move it out of the way. And I guess that's my PSA to everybody, is what I'm getting at. If you come up on something and it's possible for you to fix that situation, do it. Don't just take the lazy route and be like, oh man, that sucks, there's a tree in the way, and step over it and keep going. You know,
that's a clear indicator that nobody in that group has ever built a trail, obviously, because if you had like that excites you a little bit. Once you've like built something, you're like, ooh, I get to clear it out of the way, like, and I get to contribute. Like, there's something fun about that. But these people like obviously didn't even put any effort. They just don't understand like what it is, what a trail is. Like, it's like there's more that goes into it than just like showing up and riding it, guys.
Well, and I think not only that, I think it's like this is all of ours, you know, like it belongs to all of us. And like, if you had a freaking, I don't know, like a 2x4 in your house that was covering half the doorway, that every time somebody turned the corner would run into it, you'd be like, oh, well, maybe I should move that 2x4.
Yeah.
You know, like, so it's the same thing there. It's like, come on, man, like, take some like initiative to maybe keep somebody else from getting hurt, or to like help somebody else have a good time, where you're there, you know?
I wonder how much of that we're going to see in the post-COVID world, where everybody got a bike and nobody quite is fully familiar with etiquette yet and things like that. That probably wasn't this situation, but I have a feeling there's going to be more of that sort of stuff, where it's like people don't quite understand all the logistics, and it's kind of up to us to shepherd them. And hopefully they'll find one of our videos one day that'll say like, hey, don't be a dumbass. And then maybe they'll figure it out. I don't know.
Yeah, that would. I think that the chance of them finding one of our videos is right about where you screwed that whole rant up.
Yeah, totally.
Like it was a good chance that they could learn something along the way, but through one of our videos, not very likely.
It's a good point. That's a solid point you make there.
Yeah.
They'll stumble upon the Dick Beard video one day and they'll be like, wow, that was really insightful. I understand trail etiquette now.
Yeah, right.
The crashing dad coming in here.
Yeah, I know, right? I was just saying I was going to tell him I have a link on Slack if he wants to come join. So, but now I just said it out loud. There's no sense in me continuing to type that sentence.
Yeah, good point. Efficiency. Hey Siri, invite crashing dad. Right? Thanks. Got it.
So here's one that now you just remind me of another one of my rants. I want to know like how Amazon stops Alexa from answering commercials on your TVs. Like do they
commercials a lot?
Huh?
Do they say Alexa in commercials a lot?
Oh yeah, all the time. They're like they're commercials for her service, right? Or there's one the other day where they're like said the Schlampa's name and then they're like start my car or whatever, you know, and they're like, oh yeah, it's great. She starts the car. And I'm like, do they like load those commercials into like the Amazon database? So whenever that device hears it, then they're like, disregard that. Because
so the first question is though, I'm assuming you don't have an Alexa, or do you?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so it's literally not triggering them, because I know there was one instance South Park aired an episode where they said it as many times as they possibly could and just bombarded people. It was the greatest thing in the world. It like just totally trolled everyone.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I wonder how you got it. Yeah, I don't know what the deal is. Like,
yeah, that's interesting. Like, I wonder how they pull that off with commercials and stuff like that. See, I don't have an Alexa, so I don't have it triggering anything yet, but I could see that being an absolute nightmare.
Because I mean, they even do the Siri one though. They do the like, hey Siri on TV and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know how it works, but anyways,
too much damn technology, and none of it works properly when we want it to. Haven't we discovered that well enough?
Right.
Jeez.
Right. So what intrigued you to go build that tiny house in your backyard?
More important than anything, it was because we have two kids and they both need their separate rooms now. And at this point, the housing market's gone absolutely bonkers, Robert.
Yeah, it has.
If you look at buying like a 5-bedroom house, even in like not West Sacramento, wherever, it's like well into like over $500,000. Yeah. And I just didn't want to drop that. Like, we've got a pretty small mortgage at the moment. So it was like a great opportunity to just kind of throw this studio out here, give her the second room, and it's substantially lower cost than even just adding a home remodel. You know what I mean? So
yeah, it's
gonna be a rad little setup, and it's weird because I'm kind of isolated out here, like because it's fully, insulated and everything. So once you close the door, it's like it's weird not hearing sounds in the house now.
Yeah,
it's good. Yeah. It's good and bad.
Did you have to get a permit for that, or
no? So my understanding is anything like 120 square feet or below does not require a permit, and this is 120 square feet. So
even if did it have a foundation and everything?
Yeah, I had the guys put in a foundation. It's basically just a raised leveled foundation, and it's fully insulated also. So it's insulated under, sides, top, everything, which is pretty rad, especially in SAC. And I've got a split HVAC unit in here, so it's got full on air conditioning and it's super quiet. I dig it. Wow. It's like, again, this is the first time really being in here. I just got the desk in yesterday, and it's still temporary because I got some other stuff on order. So the build is still ongoing. But it's pretty cool.
I was thinking about like building an actual wall in my garage where like I kind of do all my stuff at. That way I could put an air conditioner in there, because that's the whole reason I'm in the house right now. Those of you guys that are watching, you see I got the TV with the B1KER Bar splash page on the back, or screensaver, whatever you want to call it. And I don't know, man. I keep thinking about it, but I can't bring myself to building a wall. What I really want to do is take the roof off that thing and put a second floor on it. But
it's so much money.
Yeah, see, I thought it was going to be cheap until one of my neighbors like did exactly that, and I was like, oh, sweet. Now I can find out how much it is. In my head, I thought like 50 grand.
Yeah.
And maybe they went a little bigger than what I'm expecting to go. But they were like, yeah, no, it wasn't that bad. It was $180,000. And I was like, yeah, that's not like whatever happened to like, why can't I just go out and pull the fucking roof off and just like frame it up my own damn self? Like, apparently you're not allowed to do that anymore.
Because basically, Step Brothers happened. Like people were doing that, and it was just collapsing on them. There's so much room for activities, and then they were just dying. Probably.
Yeah, there's blood everywhere.
I'm sure if you moved to Mexico, you'd have no problem doing that. But unfortunately, here they do want you to do it somewhat legal. But that was the same principle. I was like, maybe I'll do an addition to the house, and everyone I talked to is like, it's going to be well over 100,000 just to add a small room. I was like, well, I could do this for less than half that cost. Then I've got my own little setup out here, and I'm doing the landscaping around it right now. It's going to look rad, man.
I even thought to myself, I was like, how hard is it to get a contractor's license? Like, I'll go get a contractor's license, and then I can do it myself or something, you know? Like, I don't, because it's like it's California is what it is, though. Yeah. Like, because my buddy told me in like Georgia, you can do whatever you want on your land.
That's
it's
true.
Like
yeah.
you like pour a foundation, build another house. They're like, they don't give a shit, man. Like, if it falls down on your head, that's your problem.
Yep.
You know, like, but
yeah, see, I just, with the time schedule that I have, like having a local contractor just take it over and put it up for me, that was the best thing that you could possibly do. If you guys haven't seen this, I did a video on this, just a short one, but basically, like the local contractor gets hired out, they come in and they basically build the thing for me, and they had it basically completed in less than 2 weeks, and it would have taken me months because, you know, I've got an hour and a half a day to maybe tackle something like this. It was unfeasible, so I was happy to pay the extra money to get it assembled for me because there's just no way. There's just no way.
I just get irritated whenever I get quotes for that stuff. Every time I want to have somebody do something, I get a quote and I'm like, nope.
Well, you see the labor cost, you're like, nope.
That's what I'm talking about. Like, I can't handle it. I'll be like, you know what, man? I really want to remodel this bathroom. I'm going to get a quote. Got income tax coming. Like, as soon as I get the quote, I'm like, oh no, I'm not paying that much for somebody else to do this.
Now it's funny that you mentioned bathrooms because on the same topic of that, our bathroom sink got totally clogged. So I was like, all right, let me put something down there. Still didn't work. Snake didn't work. I was like, all right, let me pull the pipes across and let me get. And then it took me like, this is 3 to 4 hours in, maybe something. I finally I go back to Home Depot, get another snake, a smaller one. I go get this other thing that's like a pressurized thing to push pressure down the line. None of this stuff works until I pull all the piping out from under the sink, and I was able to get a coat hanger that I pulled out, which is, you know, cost me absolutely nothing, and I should have just gone with that in the first place. I stick the coat hanger down the pipe, and then I finally find this like ball. It looks like a dead mouse, but it's not. It's just a ball of gunk, right?
Yeah.
But we're talking about like 6 hours maybe of investment time between drive time and doing all this. And then I had to go buy a whole new sink assembly because I tore it all apart and I couldn't put it back together. And so I went and bought this whole sink assembly, so I had to learn how to do this. We're talking 10 to 15 hours of investment time. I get it all back together with a putty and all this stuff. I never had to do this before. Put it all back together. And what does it do? Oh, perfect. It's flowing just perfect. But it's leaky as hell. So I am absolutely happy for at this point, just call a plumber and be like, this is something, look, there are plenty of things that we do in our lives that we're like, dude, I'd love to learn how to do that. That's not one of them, and it never will be. I hated that. I hated the experience. I'm like, go call a plumber. I'm out. I'm done.
That's it. You're done.
Done. After, dude, imagine like spending all that time and then turning the faucet on, then underneath the sink, it's just like leaking everywhere. I'm like, fuck. So it's never has anything been more frustrating. And that's probably why I don't work on my bike a lot either, Robert. It's because the same thing's going to happen. I'm going to spend 10 hours trying to put a chain on, and then it's just going to fall apart on me.
Yeah.
For the record, I know how to put a chain on.
I was going to say, you don't know how to put a chain on? Like, did you
For the record, I know how to do that.
Yeah. like that was like anybody that's close to my age, like that was like a rite of passage of being a child, is like, you at least had to be able to put the chain back on your BMX bike, man.
Yeah. I will say we were out at, we rode Sky Park, and then we rode Snow Summit when I was down in Southern California last week. And coming down Snow Summit, I was just hit the pedal and pop chain, full on, just link popped off. So we had to do a repair there. And then I had a tire puncture. So I had to put bacon in the tire, and I actually never had to, I've been lucky. I've never had to put bacon in a tire for the last almost 3 years. And then finally had to do it.
The last couple of times I've had to use those, I have some that I carry with me that are actually for ATVs. Yeah. They're like way thicker, and I end up having to use those. I haven't used a regular bacon strip in a while.
I was surprised it actually worked. Honestly, with my luck that day, I was surprised it worked.
Yeah, I saw you like try to kill some lady.
Wait till you guys see this damn footage. So
that's not out public?
No, it's going to be. He's going to put it in the video. He's like, is it okay? I'm like, yeah, I don't care. Like, it's not like I have a professional, like, people don't look at me as professional writer. Well, except for the news. But, you know, like, I don't take myself that seriously, obviously. So I'm like, if somebody sees me crash like an idiot, like, that doesn't hurt my persona
like
at all.
Stop in the middle of the trail and just like set up a picnic, because that's kind of what it looked like.
That's basically what it was. Yeah, I almost killed Rad Dad a couple times doing the same thing. But basically, like, we're hauling ass down. They take me down these trails. And then, of course, because Alan rides them every day, he knows these trails absolutely perfectly. Right. We're hauling ass down. He's way out in front at this point already. And I'm a timid rider because I don't want to get injured, but two, like, I'm not that great of a rider, you know, like, so especially when you're coming off of like not riding,
then you're giving yourself credit for.
Yeah, but at the same time, like, I hadn't ridden in like 2 weeks because I was working on the shed. Then it was also like I was kind of like I didn't feel like
riding timid.
Yeah, so I was riding timid. I wasn't feeling confident on the bike. It's like if I had like we had warm up laps and stuff, but I still was like, and so I come up and it's just like this rock feature, and then I just stop. I'm like, well, because I don't see it. Just I don't know where it goes. Is it a drop? Should I just jump it? I don't know.
Yeah.
I just stopped to look at it for a second. Well, Katie was right behind me, so she just like bam, just runs right in, and we both go flying off the trail. And there was some racer behind us, like, because here's what's happened when you go ride with MTV Allen, by the way. Everybody knows him at Snow Summit at Sky Park, and he'll basically be like, hey, do you want to just jump in on this lap with us? And so they get in behind us, but they're all better riders than me because they ride there every day. I have no clue about most of the trails, so I'm like, can you guys just go in front of me? Because I just feel too much pressure like going on right now. You ever felt that going to North Star, by the way? Like, you go there and like you're coming down a trail and then this guy's just hauling ass and you know they're back behind you. You're like, you just feel too much pressure. You just want to pull over.
I've never been in North Star, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, especially like in a congested area like that, where it's like the trails are repeatable. There's constantly just people getting up behind you, and it's like I just felt like I'm just slowing them all down. It was just too much pressure.
I don't have a problem rolling over to the side and letting people pass me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I definitely know what you're saying there. In that circumstance, so. It
was like added pressure to where you're like, oh, maybe I should go a little bit faster to like so. But then it's like a lot of these are like purpose-built berms. This is like a full-on downhill park where you're taking I want to say gondola.
I feel like when that happens, I think this is the main reason I pull over, because I start pushing outside of my comfort zone.
That's what I mean, exactly.
And then I feel like I'm gonna get myself hurt.
Yep.
And sometimes it's good to be in that position. Like a couple of weeks ago, we were riding Mills Peak, and I was in. Some of the other guys were faster than me for the majority of the ride, but at the end of the ride, for whatever reason, I got in front of everybody, and it was fun. It was fun having them push me a little bit further, you know. But on the other hand, like that was like completely within my control, and at any point that I wanted to be like, yeah, fuck it, you guys go, like that was that. But I don't like it otherwise. It just gets on my nerves.
Yeah, I felt like in this case I wasn't focusing on the trail also. Like it'd be in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, there's somebody coming up behind me, I should probably like try to get that, like, you know. And now I'm not like, when you're on a trail, like you go to Tahoe, you've been riding Tahoe a lot, you don't really run into people that much. Like once you're on the trail, you're
bears than you see people, you know.
And that's what I really like I love that stuff. And so like when you go there's a lot more pressure because there's just people coming up constantly. It's like just compressed, you know. So it's like I felt like I wasn't fully concentrated on what I was doing, and that's my grandest excuse for why I rode really terrible. Okay, that's really the long story short of it.
Yeah. Or you just suck at riding. So.
Yeah, it's basically what I'm trying to tell everyone. They don't believe me.
Yeah, like but when I've ridden with you in Auburn, man, you get down pretty quick, dude. It's not like is it just because you're super comfortable there? Or like I can say that I definitely ride differently there than I will whenever I'm somewhere new, you know. Like I'm more of a timid rider as well.
Yep, I'm definitely timid on new stuff. Like if like the Downeyville, after 3 runs or whatever up there, man, I was hauling ass like Brian Gong and those guys are having a hard time keeping up with me because then I just felt completely confident out there. I know those trails well enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, going in blind, especially like when you're going over like wooden features and it just drops off. You're like, how far is the drop? I don't know what's happening here. Like I want to stop and look at it. Like And so like going in blind to that stuff makes me a little nervous, honestly.
Yeah, I would say the very first time I ever went to Downeyville, I remember thinking like I would brake as you were coming over little kind of points like that would like keep your line of sight from seeing where the trail is.
Yeah. But
now it's like, I know there's not a rocky technical section after that or whatever. I've ridden it enough, so I can just send it. But yeah, for sure, when you're somewhere new,
It's so hard because you can't see what's coming up, and you're like, I don't know what to expect. Is it a roll? Is it a drop? Like, should I just go as fast as possible? And there were several instances where, had I not looked, like it would have died. I would have, like, there was like a section where you go over and it's this long ramp straight down, and I was like, man, I could have sent that, but if I did, I might have landed in the wrong spot. You know, I'm glad I rolled it. Like, so that's really what that was. It was me being timid on the trail, and you guys will see that crash. I look like a buffoon, but I went to the wrong line too. Like, if you look at the right, it's super rocky, and the left is like perfectly easy. I was like, Alan even said, like, you kind of went the wrong way. I was like, yeah, I know. So anyways, I'm not ashamed of it. I'm Timid Rider. That's fine.
Yeah. I'm not ashamed of it. Some days I'm just off. Like some days I could go out and, you know, be the pace setter for everybody. And other days I go out and it's like, that's not happening today, guys. You know, like, I don't know why. Like, you just woke up funny that day or something, you know?
And you can read it too. It's like you can feel like something's not, like, it's not clicking. And then those days, when you feel everything's just on the money, and those when you're hauling ass, like that's when you feel good.
Well, those are the days where you're like stoked, getting playful. You're like getting little bump jumps and shit, and you're like, yeah, dude, I'm freaking badass. Like, you know, you think you're like the guys on Pink Bike, even though you're like going to 1/8 of the speed, but and not even 1/8 of the distance and the height when you're jumping. But
no, that's the funniest thing. I'm like, oh, I hit that jump sick, and then somebody was recording it. You're like, I didn't get anything. Off the ground. I thought I was up there for 30 minutes.
Right? Yeah. You're like thinking you're like Elliot and ET. You know,
exactly. Which, by the way, is you're reading my mind tonight, Robert, because I just watched E.T. again recently for the first time in like maybe 20 years. It's been a hell of a long time since I watched E.T., but that might be one of the first mountain biking movies. You remember that scene at the end? I know they're BMXers riding, but they're obviously like grown adults. Do you remember that scene, the bike chase?
Through the woods and stuff, yeah.
But like, dude, it's way more intense than I remember. I remember them like flying up, but I didn't remember them hauling ass through town and getting chased by the cops. And like, it was obviously grown adults riding the bikes all of a sudden.
Oh, yeah.
And Spielberg's a visionary director, but like, how did he let this slip by? Because I figured that out instantly. I was like, those are obviously adults. Like, they're like 6 feet tall versus the kids that are like 4 feet tall. But like, go watch that scene. It's pretty gnarly, dude. This is like they're like doing stunts. They're like full on doing jumps and stuff. And they're like making them look rad. Like, they filmed it so it looked like, and it was obviously BMXers, but you could argue that's like one of the first mountain bike videos to exist, especially mainstream. Like, there's a point to be made there.
That's funny because like when they rode through kind of the like backyard shortcut trails kind of thing, there's a lot of that where I grew up, so it seemed really normal to me. But like out here in California, there's not like that. Like little shortcuts through the neighborhood that are going through wooded areas and stuff like that. So that's funny. Yeah, I'll have to go watch it again. It's been a while for me too.
It's worth it. It's super cheesy and it's great. And there's moments like where they have that classic, like, I forget, that must have been in the 80s or 90s or for whenever it came out. But there's that moment where the old cop cruisers, like the bikes ride by and they go, they pull up like, hey, where are they going? You know, like just full on, like, would a cop car really need to burn out to catch up to a bike? Like, they're full on, like,
definitely.
you know, stopping like, like, oh.
yeah, that's 100% 80s there.
Oh, so good.
That's good stuff though, man. I made my kids watch every freaking movie that I watched as a kid. So
how did they take it? I'm curious because I'm working them up to Goonies right now. I really want them to watch Goonies, but my son's like a little bit scared with stuff, but my daughter's like, she's a little more grotesque for some reason. She really likes the scary stuff. So
how old's your son?
He's 8.
Oh, he's probably close for Goonies.
Apparently he watched Ghostbusters recently, my grandparents. And when we went over there the other day, they're like, oh yeah, it was way different than I remembered. And they're like, that was not really appropriate for kids. There's a lot of like innuendo and stuff in it.
Oh, everything in all of those movies is that way. I remember the ones that I just had this conversation with somebody on Instagram not too long ago. First of all, Goonies, hands down, best movie ever. Like,
it's incredible,
especially as a kid. My kids are in that camp as well. They totally agree. Like, anytime that we are struggling to find something to watch, we're like, oh, we could just watch Goonies, you know? Like,
yeah.
But what was I gonna say?
Dude, I watched. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
The one that really surprised me when I went back and watched them was Short Circuit. There was there was a lot of like cussing and just a lot more inappropriate things than I remember. And this is the thing though. At the end of the day, like, all of us kids that grew up back then and watched all this stuff weren't walking around town being like, hey, fuck you and fuck you. You know, like,
yeah.
So that has something to say to me where it's, you know, you can watch this stuff. It's good parenting that keeps kids from being shitbags.
You're absolutely right, man. It's funny because we had that realization almost recently where it's like, well, they know the words now. So it's not like, it's not exposing them to it. It's having them understand that when it's appropriate, when it's not.
Yeah.
And that came way sooner than I expected, by the way, as a parent. Like, I thought I'd be explaining this at 14 or something. They're like, my son's, when he was 6, he was like, he heard the F word or whatever, right? I don't know why I said the F word now. But maybe I'll show this to him someday. But yeah, it was like, oh, he knows the word already. So like coming to that realization that he already knows the word. And now it's about like teaching them when it's appropriate to use it. It's like,
I always cussed around my kids. I've never really tried to curb that.
Yeah.
I've always done exactly what you just said though. Like you learn what's appropriate and what's not.
Yeah.
And as a kid, that's not appropriate.
Yep.
I'm not telling you can't cuss. I mean, when you get to be an adult, you do whatever the hell you want. But right now, that's not appropriate for a kid. So shut up.
When you're at a dinner table, you don't say, pass the fucking peas, you idiot.
Right?
Like, speaking of Short Circuit, the one thing I remember about Short Circuit was that one part in the movie where he's like, Las Lobos kick your ass, Las Lobos kick your face, Las Lobos kick your balls into outer space. That was in there, right? I'm pretty sure you guys confirmed that in chat.
Yeah. The one that I remember the most, my favorite quote from that movie was, your mama was a snowblower. Yeah, that's the one I always remember. Good movies back then, man. I feel like we have good movies now, but not as many of these like feel good kind of like coming to age type things. It seems like the coming to age movies now are all about like going to some house party or like taking a bunch of or like
American Pie style and stuff.
Yeah. It's not like that kind of stuff, you know. I guess the closest thing out right now probably would be, what's that? Stranger Things is pretty close to that.
Yeah.
That's a show. That's not a movie. You know?
Yeah, good point. Middle-aged Master says The Sandlot. Think about a movie like The Sandlot, which is genuinely like wholesome but entertaining. Like you can watch it as an adult and it's still entertaining. I think one of the things that hurt Hollywood is their need to like increase the runtime of movies for some reason, because like a lot of times once you like start bloating it, like if you were to compress that down to an hour and a half, you'd have one hell of a movie. But so many times it's 2 hours and it's just like you didn't need a lot of that stuff in there.
Yeah. There was some weird stuff with Goonies. Have you ever read about like how the script was originally?
No, but I remember for years I couldn't wait to see the octopus scene. Like, and they finally released an unedited DVD version, and they had the deleted scenes on there.
And it's horrible.
I'd never been more disappointed in all my life. This is one of those things where I wish I would have just never seen it, but like it answered the question in my head of the octopus scene that he mentioned. Yeah.
So those of you guys that don't know, whenever they're finally getting to the ship and they like the fun part where they're going down like what seems to be like the cave water slides, and they drop into the water where the pirate ship is, there's supposed to be an octopus in there that they're like fighting off to get onto the boat. And that was a scene that was cut. And whenever you see the octopus, you're like, yeah, that made the movie cheesy because it was a bad for the time it was probably a really good octopus.
Yeah.
You know, but for now it's like, it's horrible. And I think that's the thing about that movie is that there's not special effects in there that are like that are over the top that make you feel like, oh, that makes this look unbelievable. You know, I think the biggest like special effect fluke in my mind in that movie is at the very beginning, whenever the guys are breaking out of jail. And they have this like fire circle on the ground, and it's like it's like 8 inches of fire, and it like stops all the like guards from like chasing them.
Not one of the cops is like, I think I could hop that, Terry. No, don't do it. You might burn the bottom of your shoes, John.
Yeah, definitely. You're gonna pull a hammy, man. You know, like it totally stops them. So
when I was a kid, though, it seemed like a wall of fire. So maybe
it was a big.
Maybe they nailed it for the audience at the time. But yeah, looking back on it, you're like, man, I could have just walked through that. Like I jumped over a fire pit once, and it was no problem.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was thinking. I was like, seriously, like you guys couldn't do better than that. Like, like what happened that day? They were like, oh, we only have one fire extinguisher, guys, so let's keep this on the low. You know,
take it easy over there, Richard Donner. He's like, there might be kids on set. Let's just take it easy.
Yeah. Oh man, what about mountain biking?
Hey, there was mountain biking in that, and I actually had originally. This is funny because we could bring this back to an idea I had of shooting like a Goonies style mountain bike thing. You remember that scene in the Goonies where like the rich guy pulls up and he's like, "Hey, what's up?" And I forget what the character's name was, but he grabs his hand and he's in the girl's
it's gotta
bike.
Be Chad. If it's not, it's Chad.
And so like he holds his hand and like sends him flying off a cliff. I thought that's even as a short, that'd be a rad scene where you grab the hand, somebody like rides off the hill, but then he actually sends it and does like a sick ass jump and lands it. And like, like that would be it. Like that's all you need. Like that's pretty rad.
Oh, that would be pretty cool. Huh? I feel like somebody's done that.
I don't think so. Nobody's ingenious enough to do a Goonies remake scene with a mountain bike. No way.
Yeah. Middle-aged mashers in the comments talking about the movie Rad. If that wasn't the movie that made you go buy a mongoose back in the day, I don't know who you are. So
yeah, man, I remember seeing that way back in the day, but I must have seen it like once because I don't remember a lot about it.
All I remember is like the freestyle guys in the video they were like, that's back whenever like, what was that thing on the handlebars called? A gyro or something like that. A gyro. So you could spin your handlebars around.
A Greek sandwich was on there?
Huh?
A Greek sandwich?
No. Yeah, but I think they just called it a gyro. You don't remember what I'm talking about?
No.
It was like so that you could have cable brakes, but you could still spin your handlebars.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. That's right.
I'm pretty sure it was called gyro. Anyways, those guys that were like doing tricks on the street, like little 180s, and man, they weren't even doing manuals. They were like doing like wheelies and stuff, and it was like, oh, that's so rad,
Yeah.
But there was some dirt jumping and stuff in that movie too. It was like it was one of those ones that I really liked a lot as a kid, but when I went back and watched it, it wasn't as good as like going back and watching Goonies.
No. I've discovered one of the weaknesses of this studio. The light right in my eyes as the sun sets. Holy hell. It's overpowering. I think I have a solution though. Watch this, Robert. I'll be right back. Watch this.
All right. I'll go ahead and ad lib for a little bit. So anyways, I guess we're on this 80s movies kick because everybody in the comments just throwing them all up. I just saw Stand By Me pop up, and that one is actually a really good one. And it reminds me the way I'm going to tie it back into biking is have you ever ridden Mount Huff?
No, I want to. It's on my list. Everybody keeps telling me about it.
So right at it might not be fun right now because the fire just went through there.
Oh,
so.
That's right.
But at the very end of Mount Huff, you cross the railroad tracks, and there's like this epic Instagram shot of like just like straight railroad tracks with like beautiful trees and hills on each side right at the end of the ride. And every time I take that picture, I'm always thinking about Stand By Me. So,
God, when the kids find a dead body, yeah, I remember that one.
Right, that's a good one. There's a lot of.
No, it is a really good movie though. It's talking about a coming of age story. Like kids learn life lessons in that one.
Yeah, my daughter and my son were both like slightly traumatized by the leech scene for quite some time.
Oh, that's right.
But I think everybody was, because I'm pretty sure when I was a kid, when we saw that, we were like not going to swim in the creek for a while, at least like a couple of days. Like,
little do we know that we don't really have leeches where we're at.
Yeah,
they might exist, but I've never ever had one on me.
I have had one on me once.
It can't be as creepy as a tick, right? Like ticks are the worst.
I feel like ticks are worse, but I haven't had like big, gross, slimy ones like they had in that movie. So, anyways,
as we speak about the topic of movies, and don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, we'll get back to mountain bikes in any moment now. There's that scene in King Kong, that King Kong remake with Jack Black, where like that little, like, it's like a bloodworm, a giant bloodworm goes onto Andy Serkis's head and eats him like that way. I don't know if you've seen that scene, but that is legitimately terrifying. It's like, ugh.
I watched that recently, and it doesn't stand out, but
because the bloodworms have like the second mouth, like an alien. And so the second mouth latches onto his top of his head, and then the rest of the body comes and just like sucks him up like through. It was like, in a swamp. It was like, dear God, man.
Interesting. That's definitely traumatizing.
Those are the things I remember.
So speaking of traumatizing, and you were talking about Moonlight Leatherfoot earlier.
Yeah.
You're going to Sedona, huh?
Yeah. I'm excited about this. And you guys have all been out there. In fact, you guys went and did a pre-Sedona celebration in honor of the actual celebration, my understanding.
That was the weirdest Sedona trip I've ever taken.
Was it
purely
really?
Because at one point we did this group ride and we finished in the parking lot where the fest is. And it was like, oh man, I don't know. Like, I guess Six Flags, like around here, a lot of people go to Six Flags their whole life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And imagine like going to Six Flags one day and all the rides are gone and you're just standing there and you're like, this is kind of weird. Like, this is like supposed to be the happiest place of my life. And
yeah.
And so we were like there in the parking lot where the fest is, and there's no fest. And so it looks like a fucking parking lot. That's weird. And you're just, it's strange because you're like, you recognize, you know, where the tent should be. And you're like, this is just not right. So
did you get any weird reactions from business owners when you guys went to restaurants and stuff, or they were there like, did you guys even tell them like, hey, we're here to kind of celebrate Sedona? Not really, huh? You guys probably just rode and just went and got food.
Yeah, we were just riding bikes like it. I mean, but there was a lot of people there that had, I guess, less than the average amount of COVID paranoia.
Right.
So
right.
I think there were a lot of people that did exactly what we did, where it was like we bought plane tickets way ahead of time and COVID didn't play out for the fest. And we're like, well, we're still gone. So there's nothing going to stop us from going and riding bikes. So, and it was kind of, you know, the circle of friends that we all rode together and felt safe or whatever. And actually we had a good time. I mean, we, there's a place called Famous Pizza that we go to, and they have like the best chicken wings. I pretty much just wait all year to like get the chicken wings there. And we had a good time, man. We always end up like eating there every night the whole time that we're there, which is like really creature of habit. Now that I think about it, we eat breakfast at the same place every day too. So I think we just don't have the room to make any other like change of plans. So it's like, yeah, we'll just go to that breakfast place with the shitty mugs and the watered down coffee, and then we'll go to the other place for dinner because they have really good beer and awesome chicken wings and great pizza. So
there's only so many times you can go to a fancy breakfast place. Like whenever I travel, I go to like one once, and the rest is like the crappy diner experience. Yeah, like, what do I need to spend $40 for a breakfast for? Like, I could just go get like a normal like $15 breakfast and call it a day.
Yeah. Well, and especially when you're like kind of on like a guy's trip.
Yeah.
Half the time you're like kind of maybe a little bit hungover.
Yep, I could see that.
You know, and if you're not hungover, you're like feeling like, well, I just dodged a bullet. You know, and
yep.
And you're in a hurry to go eat or to go ride, right? So you don't really want to go sit and like wait to get a table. So those diner places are always like, there'll be like 60 people standing outside, but somehow you're on a table in like 6 minutes. You know, like,
man, there's something to be said about being able to just get into a place. I would rather go eat someplace I can get into than wait an hour to get into something. Like, even if I don't care. I don't like waiting in lines, Robert. I'm not a big fan. Like you said, just getting in there
on a video or a Instagram post recently. Didn't you?
Waiting in lines suck. And like, it's mostly like not worth it generally, because the sheer wait and anguish like ruin the experience for you. I like to be able to just walk in, get in and go.
Yeah.
That's really why I want this internet fame. I want people to I want to walk up and I want people to just be like, whatever you need, sir.
Yeah.
It's never going to happen, exactly, but right. That's the goal.
How's your channel doing, dude?
It's doing good. It's decent. The latest video, the Downeyville video came out, and that one got a pretty decent amount of views.
What was it decent? How many decent?
It's almost at 7,000 now. Within.
Oh, that's good, dude.
Yeah, so it's not bad for less than 2 weeks or whatever, and that's pretty big for mine. The only other one bigger than that, in numbers, but is the what's the one on the ocean? Damn it! Now I'm forgetting it. Yeah. Anyways,
Pacifica?
Yeah, the Pacifica video also. So it's doing really well. The live streams tech has been really fun for me because I've been playing around with that quite a bit. We did a live stream from Sky Park, and that was kind of not a last minute. I had mentioned it before driving down to SoCal, and then we heard back from the guy like the night before, and I was like, all right, well, let's do it. So we ended up riding all day and then set up the live broadcast at Sky Park, and that was pretty fun with MTV Allen and The Outsider.
You've done that a few times. I need to like dial in my opportunity or like my hardware for doing something like that.
Yeah.
Like
I got to get you over for a fireside chat.
Yeah, a friend of mine recently was like, "Oh, you should come down and ride." I was like, "Oh, I got my podcast," and he's like, "Oh, we could do it down here," and I'm like, "No, I can't."
Yeah, I've got it dialed in, man. I just bring the lights and stuff, and then I had Sky Park. They sent out one of their IT guys, and he wired up hardwired internet for me. So we had the site to our to whatever we wanted to do basically. And so the hard part was like catering to the light as it came across. Yeah, that's the hard part about this live stuff where the light's changing constantly. You can't account for all of it, but it was fun. We were right on site, and it was pretty cool. It was not too hard.
Reached out to the venue and just said, "Hey, do you guys have some internet?"
Yeah, and luckily Alan rides there a lot, so he kind of knew the people to a certain degree, and they were like, "Yeah." But I mean, most times, like if you tell them, like, "Hey, I'm going to do a live broadcast on the internet, and I got a lot of followers and stuff, and it'd be fun." Like most people are pretty like okay with it. If all you need is an internet connection and power, like that's not too much to ask most of the times,
Yeah.
So it's totally doable. It was fun. So that was a good time. It was really interesting. And so those have been fun for me creatively because oftentimes I was telling somebody earlier, like oftentimes that results in less videos coming out for me. But at the same time, like a live stream counts as a video, right? Like to a certain degree. So like people can still tune in and check that stuff out too. So it's still content. You know what I mean? So
yeah, totally.
It's fun messing around with it. I think it's it's fun doing this, and it's interesting because you get to talk to people, and it's been fun because we've been doing it in person. And Alan and those guys were like, "This is actually kind of fun being together." Like versus like we're always like across the country, so we can't do that usually with people. But like if we're local, I just got lucky. I was down in SoCal, so I was like, "All right, let's all get." And he was like, "Wow, this is actually fun being in person as opposed to just on a screen," And these days, everybody's used to Zoom calls and stuff. So
right.
We're working within limitations, but if someone's local, we got to get them on. So that's why one of these days I'll have you on the fireside chat. You can come hang out with me and Kyle, and we'll make s'mores and everything.
One of these days when I'm not when I'm actually drinking, I feel like a fireside chat just doesn't make sense with no alcohol.
Yep. No, I agree. But like plus the weather's so damn hot. It doesn't make the only reason we did the most recent one is because I saw a break in the weather. It was like 86 instead of 95. So I was like, all right, well, that means the night will be cooler. And it worked out great. That's when Jay Bikesum came over and Kyle was here. But it was like, it was because I saw a break in the weather. It was very last minute. I was like, dude, let's go. Like, so it's hard to make it work otherwise.
Yeah, those are fun though. I haven't done a live stream on the Biker channel in a while, and they're just kind of a little more. I know exactly why it is, but they're a little more impromptu typically, and I think the real reason is my lady's not traveling because of COVID stuff, and that's where I would end up doing them a lot because I don't like being by myself.
Oh yeah,
and so it would be like, I'm bored. I guess I'm going to go out and live stream because then I have people to hang out with.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah,
it's fun. I mean, it's definitely a different way to engage. And like I was talking about it before, like when you do a live stream versus like a normal video will have like in terms of subscribers percentages, it's like 70% not subscribed, 30% subscribed, most videos or whatever, something like that. But when you do a live stream, it's like 85% subscribed or more. It's basically you're talking to your actual core audience, which is really like what it's all about anyway. So it's fun to be able to come in and hang out with all the guys that we know. Like you said, it's just like hanging out. It's basically what it is. Yeah,
I know. It's definitely super fun. So when you're doing that fireside one, you're just doing like little lapel mics.
Yep. I got the Rhodes. In fact, I just ordered another set so I could have 4. I borrowed a couple last time, but we can have up to 4 people now. And you wire them into the A10 Mini, and then you go in through that and do OBS. This is a bunch of stuff, but it's working, man. It works pretty good.
Oh, I see. So I was thinking originally like you were just using. So normally when you're just doing 2, you use your nice camera as a webcam, and then you have the Rode going into that, and then that's feeding into the computer. Is that how you do it?
So everything, I just feed all the cameras to the A10 Mini no matter what. Right now I have one camera, but I'm just going through the A10 Mini. It treats it as a webcam, and it helps mitigate some of the audio delay issues that you run into we're getting real techie, but that you run into with going to the laptop. So like, because I've got the Rode, the Rodecaster Pro, which is my full-on mixer going to this mic. And then I got the A10 Mini handling the video, and then I'm combining them in here. But yeah, when we do the fireside, I've got the A10 for multiple cameras, and then I also feed the wireless goes, the little guys, into the A10. And so I'm able to do audio that way.
ATEM?
It's a Blackmagic A10 Mini, ATEM Mini. Yep. And the reason why I got this thing is because Brian came onto my live stream once, and he had it, and he tried to show me up live on my own stream. And after that, I was like, nope, I'm not handling. No, nobody's gonna show me up on my own live stream. So I got the thing, and it's been dope. I know Rad Dad just ordered one too, but they're pretty cool. It's easier to put your nice camera in and deal with less tech issues because it just treats the whole thing as a webcam.
Oh, I see. Because I have a Sony, and there's supposed to be some app where it just like you load it on your computer. And
I've done it before, but the one thing I noticed was like latency between the audio, and then there was no way to solve that. So it seems like this mitigates some of that.
Ah, does the audio go through the A10 too?
When I do the firesides, it does. But right now, I'm going through the Rodecaster, the actual mixer that I have to go to this mic. But yeah, you can feed mics into that directly and control them through a web interface and all that stuff. So like I said, if you come over and want to check all this stuff out, you're welcome to. It's pretty rad.
Like if you had a webcam, how does it like this thing has a bunch of USB ports on it?
The A10 has all HDMI in, so you could take your Sony camera, you could take your GoPro. So I've got like 2 Sonys and a GoPro, and that's how I do my fireside setup because the GoPro is basically the establishing shot, and then the 2 Sonys are my cross shots. Not crotch shots, everybody. Cross shots.
Oh, not a crotch shot. Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
It's got room for 4 though, so maybe I could have a crotch shot. Maybe I should have a crotch shot.
Because I thought Brian used some other thing. He has what is that thing? It's got like a little bunch of buttons on it to like change camera angles and stuff.
That's what this is, yeah.
No, but he doesn't have that same one, does he?
Yeah, he came onto my live stream with it for the first time. He was like, I just got it. I wanted to check it out.
Oh, that's what I was thinking. He had something else before. The other thing is what I was thinking of.
Oh yeah, different thing. Yeah, but he came on with this thing, and I was like, you son of a bitch! Don't you dare show me up in my own live stream.
Right.
So yeah, I had to order it like the next day.
Well, now I'm interested.
I'm definitely in the hole in this channel. I think. Don't you agree on yours too? Like,
dude, the only thing good about this channel like is I write everything off of my taxes. So
that's really what I'm hoping to do this year. Please, dear God.
Yeah. I apparently can only do that for like 3 years until the IRS comes and is like, that's not a business, dude. So I had to start showing a profit this year.
Yeah.
Like $10.
I know. That's what we got to tell people. It's like, please pay attention to my channel. Otherwise the IRS is going to come after me.
Yeah. I was given all the like numbers for all the shit I bought to the tax guy. Cause I always use a tax guy. I feel like it's worth a couple hundred, like we were talking about earlier. Like I won't pay for a contractor, but a tax guy I will.
Dude, I'm on the same boat. 100%.
It's like completely out of I don't want to do that at all. Like even people are like, "Oh, dude, just get TurboTax. It takes like 10 minutes." I'm like, 10 minutes is longer than what I've spent. I don't want to do that.
It is the prime example. There are so many things in life that you're like, "Oh, I don't mind learning how to do that while I do it because it's kind of fun." But like, and there are those things like taxes and plumbing that I have discovered I do not want to ever learn, and I will pay someone whatever it costs to get them there.
So I usually just go through my Amazon account and add up anything that's like bike related, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm giving him this number and he's like, yeah, we don't need any more writeoffs. I'm like, what do you mean? There's like a bunch of other shit.
Maxed it out already.
And he's like, yeah, you've already, you're good, dude. I'm like, but I bought a bike. And he's like, yeah, we're good.
My tax guy's gonna be like, you bought the camera. Cool. You're maxed. Sorry. You're good to go. Yeah. Damn it.
You're all done, man.
Oh my God. But it's so fun. It's like, it's a good excuse to play around with new tech. I like new tech.
Yeah, no, definitely. What was I gonna say? There was something else. So, what are you looking forward to in Sedona then? It's your first time there.
Honestly, like it's funny because the riding should be it, but it's not. It's about like not only meeting people, but like hanging out with other people and things like that's really the biggest thing. Like the social aspect to me, like we can ride trails anywhere, anytime. It's obviously the social side, like coming out, hanging out, meeting people that we've talked to through Instagram or through live chats or anything like that. And like putting a face to the name. Like it was so cool going to SoCal and actually hanging out with Alan and Tony and this guy, Aaron from Trail Dogs. And like, once you hang out with someone, it's different than like chatting with them. Right. Like, it's the same experience I've said, like when you go on a ride and you ride with someone for the first time, if you ride with somebody one time, your relationship changes completely. You become not friends, but like you have an understanding now. It's like that you didn't have before. All it takes is one ride. Like if you go on up for a couple hours on a trail, man, like
for sure.
And so that's going to be rad. I think it's going to be super cool. I love the idea of traveling. I wish I had more time and to do it. I mean, but really like it's with the family and stuff. Sometimes it's a lot of times trying to wrap in a family trip into some riding, which is what the SoCal thing was. It was a family trip that I was like, can I cut loose a couple days early to go ride? And she's like, yeah, that's fine. Like it was cool. But yeah, if I can work those things in, then maybe it's more feasible. Like I really do want to do a Whistler trip, but it's probably not going to happen this year with Sedona coming up and
Well,
all
I
that
don't
other
know.
stuff.
Is Canada even letting Americans in? I don't think
They said August 6th or something. Last I heard, it's like it's going to happen real soon.
I feel like all that shit's like a possibility now because of, or like is only a possibility now because of the like new surges in COVID and whatever. So
anything can change at any moment, but
yeah,
no one's going to stop me from giving Paul the Punter a hug, or I'll tell you that right now.
Right. Speaking of Paul the Punter, I'm surprised that you were allowed to come on the podcast. I thought you had maybe signed like an NDA or something. I saw you're now one of the new what is that? The Joey podcast. You know, actually, I'm not allowed to have my competitors on my Get off.
We don't have guests. We don't have guests, apparently. I've only done one so far. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's the word on the street. I think I actually recording one tomorrow. But yeah, no, it's like I'm all over the place, man. When I drove down, I ended up being on Mark Hill's podcast. I was a co-host with him. I set up a studio in his kitchen and did it down there, and then I did a live stream at Sky Park. I'm all over the place, man. Oversaturation, I'm sure you guys would all agree in chat. There's too much of me around lately, but no, I mean, who cares? Like, yeah, it's definitely interesting. I just like hanging out with Shane and Paul, so yeah, we'll see how it goes. I've only done one so far.
Are you doing that for like growth reasons, or are you just having fun?
I just have fun with it, man. Like, I think like I like the live aspect. I like just talking. So like, obviously those go hand in hand, but it's always like, always the side of entertainment things. Like I was talking about it recently. It's kind of hard to market some of the stuff that I do because sometimes it's not informative, but I'm trying to be entertaining. So it's not like quantifiable, like a bike review, for example. When you do a bike review, you could say like, hey, this bike, I'm reviewing it. That's like easy to put a thumbnail to. That's easy to, but like when you're trying to say like, hey, this is a rad video, like the Downhill video. I'm sure that thumbnail sucks. Like I was like at my wit's end with that one. I should probably redesign it, but like it's sometimes that stuff's harder to market than like a quantifiable thing. I've discovered.
Yeah. I'm not super good at thumbnails either. I think at the end of the day, if you're not good at thumbnails, your channel doesn't grow. And that's probably why my channel hasn't grown that well.
Man, it is the worst. It's the worst.
Yeah.
It's the worst. I'm not a graphics guy. I can come up with funny stuff and we can come up with really interesting ideas and shoot it and like do all that stuff and tell a good story like you do. But it's like, yeah, if you can't get somebody to click on it, like it just goes nowhere. It's like, damn it, dude. Yeah. It's like all that work can go into something for just not quite knowing how to like put a cover to the book, right? It's like, man, I got to figure it out one day, and that's what it'll be. Like BCOPOV's thumbnails have been absolutely fire lately.
Yeah, he's really good.
Just gorgeous thumbnails. I don't even know how to draw those arrows like that.
Yeah, he did like computer game graphic like stuff for his day job before he was a YouTuber. So I feel like he has like a leg up on us,
I'm going to pay him to make them for me. That's what's going to happen. I'm just going to be like, hey, what if I give you $100 a month to make me 2 thumbnails every now and then?
Yeah. He's like, dude, I make way more than that on like my shorts videos than Yeah. His channel's getting big.
He's been going nuts. I think that's the biggest mountain bike trend. If I was to discover one mountain bike content creator trend of 2021 is trail build videos. Like last year it was van build videos, and this year it's trail build videos. Also coupled with injury videos. At the very beginning of 2021, it was a lot of videos about people getting injured and documenting it. That was a big trend. But now it's trail building videos.
Yeah, he's 362,000 now.
Oh yeah, he's going nuts. But those features he's building are so cool looking too, man. It's so rad to see.
His lady just got the new Bronson. I was watching on her channel the other day. What's her name? Yuka Van
Yuka?
Yep. Yeah. Dude, I want to ride that bike. I like do and don't. Like I want to ride it because I'm really curious about this whole mullet thing. And I don't want to ride it because I'm like, I will buy another bike.
Do you really think it'll be that drastically different? Because you got a new bike recently that's, I think, or something that set some records or something you posted about on IG, right?
No, maybe we're making stuff up. I just didn't. I haven't told people what bike it is yet.
Yeah.
But no, that's a short travel 29er. But honestly, the reason that I got that PR, I can't blame that or like attribute that to the bike for sure. I think it was just a good day.
Yeah.
I will say, like, that thing's definitely more efficient in the flat sections of that run.
Yeah.
So that could be something. I mean, it's a PR, right? So it was like, I don't know, 3 seconds faster than my last time, over what, like 3.5 miles. That's not like a showstopper. You know what I mean?
But maybe, okay. So then the question becomes, now that you've ridden that low travel, did it like liven up the local trail that you're used to riding all the time? Uh-oh, I lost my camera.
Yeah, I know. You're freaking done, dude.
Wait a
Thought
minute,
you were
hold
a
on.
professional.
Did the cable come out? Let me go look real quick. Hold on.
I'll go ahead and answer your question about the trail. Honestly, I'm going to talk about it in the video that I've been editing for the last 2.5 weeks, but yeah, it's definitely more lively. I wanted that bike because I feel like the Bronson's like overbiked on a lot of the trails that I ride that are local, and I wanted something that was more better suited for that. And the Chameleon, I was doing a great job of that. It's just because it was a hardtail. At the end of the day, my back would just be like wrecked, especially when I tended to take that hardtail on stuff that was way chunkier than I probably should have. And so that beat me up. And that's why I decided to get the short travel 29er, was just kind of try to save my back some. And so far it's been really good. It's been really fun in the local trails that I've taken it on. That it's everything that I wanted it to be so far. It's everything that I've wanted it to be. The only thing is that I'm still trying to figure out the guidelines of the crossover mark of whenever it's okay, I need to bring the Bronson. Like, for example, I took that bike for 3 days up in the mountains. So we rode Downeyville. We did 2 laps in Downeyville, 2 laps in Mills Peak, and 2 laps in Mount Huff. And I was feeling in the Downeyville runs like, man, I kind of wish I had my Bronson, but this is okay. And then on Mills Peak's pretty rocky. I don't know if you've ridden that yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, next time you go up to Aaron's, you should do it. It's like right there.
Okay.
And I definitely was like, man, I brought the wrong bike today. But Mount Huff is a very, it's like third divide, like super smooth and super fast.
So that bike was right at home there.
Yeah. It was definitely the right bike for that. And riding Auburn with that, the bike is great in Auburn.
It's going to be perfect there.
Yeah,
I feel like that bike is almost perfect in most of the stuff we ride on a daily basis. There's only like anything local. There's nothing really gnarly close to us. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, it's
and if
still
it
like
is gnarly, it's gnarly for a short amount of time.
Sure.
So,
yep.
So like when I was in Downeyville, let's just say the size of the chunk that I would be going through isn't tremendously different than the size of the chunk that I would go through in Auburn. Right. However, it's consecutive for, 10 miles like that. So your body's just like beat. Yeah. Where like if I run into some chunk that's 20 yards long on our local trails, like, and you're like, oh man, that kind of sucked, but you're okay with it.
Yep.
Like you can go to Rockville and do a bunch of the chunky stuff there, but it's like, hey, here's 30 feet of rock, and then you're back to like Pedley XC, right?
Yeah, that's really short-lived. Like there's a rock garden, and most of it's rock rolls and stuff out there and stuff too. So
yeah. So
I could see that totally. Like, and again, like, yeah, we don't really live in a region where the maximum travel bike is fully necessary all the time. Like I said, we're 2.5 hours away from like awesome Tahoe stuff like that. So, there's different areas like the Grand Junction stuff, which is super chunky, like things like that, or like those sections of Downeyville. But yeah, I'd be curious to try, like I've never really ridden a short travel bike. So maybe one day when there's a bike demo happening somewhere, I could jump on board with that and really feel that out. Because a lot of people say, and even the Unicorn MTB Savant that has yet to ride with me, he is a big proponent of those short travels and saying like, basically it breathes new life into your local trails because they feel so much more lively because you're not just having everything absorbed. You have to work a little harder, and it's kind of those mild trails you're used to riding are now a little bit chunkier and kind of funner.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about the 29er though. So
in general, or just like I like it a lot. Are you just finding that it's not quite as maneuverable, or like, what do you? Because
there's some parts of it that I like, but I definitely still feel like, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm a really big guy too. Like the wheels feel a little flexy to me.
Yeah.
And I just don't like how it rolls through really technical stuff. They definitely have gotten better at the steering. Like when I first started riding them years ago, I hated them because I would come into like a rock garden and I would feel like the bike kind of decided my line more than I did. And I don't feel like that's as much of a problem, but it just doesn't feel like, I guess at the end of the day, I just like 27.5 better. I really do. And it's just, and that's why I think I'm so intrigued about that new Bronson. Cause I'm like, all right. I mean, but
what would it take to turn yours? You couldn't turn yours into a 29 up front.
Mine is a 29 or both, like front.
Oh, the Bronson is? I thought Bronson's 27.5.
No, not the Bronson. Oh, I thought you were talking about the other bike.
Sorry. Could you put a 29 wheel on the front of your Bronson?
Yeah, it would raise the front end up, so that would.
Oh, so it screws with your geometry. So they've designed this one to account for it. Okay.
Yeah. I'm sure you could work around it though. I wouldn't doubt that there's somebody that did it, but dude, are you trying to talk me out of buying a new bike?
Yes, I am, Robert. I'm trying to give you more money for camera gear and whatnot. I don't know.
Yeah, right? What are you thinking, man?
Ah, damn it.
Yeah, I mean, I've had this Bronson for almost a year now, so I feel like it's old hat.
Man, I've had this bike for like 2.5 years, I think. I haven't even damn it.
I don't know how I turned into this guy that's always buying new bikes, because I definitely wasn't that guy before.
But the market supports you. It's basically like saying oh, you want to buy a new bike every year? Good, because your trade-in's worth as much as it was when you bought it. So I was like, why not? At least close to it.
Yeah, that's what happened last year. Because I sold my old Bronson for $3,800. I bought it for like $55.
Yeah.
And rode it for 3 years. So it wasn't much of a stretch to get the new one. And basically I didn't need the wheels. So whenever I did that, I was able to sell the wheels separately. And it really ended up only costing me like $500 to get the new bike.
That's awesome.
You know?
Yeah.
So, but this year it wouldn't be the same case. Like I'd have to, whatever I buy, I'd have to decide what I'm doing with the wheels. And I really like my Envies a lot. So
would you just keep them on, just swap them? No,
yeah, probably
different set.
More likely that's what I would end up doing.
Yeah.
It's just, or buying yeah, that's probably what I would do. Like I'd probably buy the lowest end build CC that they have right now. And I don't think that comes with carbon wheels. So I would just then take my Envies, put it on there, and then put those old other wheels on my current bike and sell it for whatever I could sell it for at this point. I don't know, man. It's tough. It's fun getting a new bike, and if you can do it and it's not costing you that much, like that's definitely a lot of fun. I think in general, I need to ride more bikes, because I still couldn't tell you the difference. If you were to blindfold me and put me on bikes, I don't know if I could tell you the difference. It's probably because I haven't ridden enough of them. I'm riding the same bike basically. And usually the same not waiting in line things is what deters me from demo days. Cause it's like, dude, why am I going to wait for a demo bike? I'm just going to go, I'd rather go ride. I don't want to stand in line to sign a waiver and all this stuff. I just want to go ride. So that oftentimes deters me. 5'10". Do you ride a large or a medium?
Medium, usually medium.
Okay. Because I have a buddy that's that height, and he was riding medium for a while, but he started riding large, and he actually said he likes it better.
Yeah, because for example, the NorCal guys, they keep getting new Specialized, and they had me. They got that new Stumpy, and they've got the Enduro also. But now they're riding the Stumpies more often, because we talk about the same thing, like that short travel handles most of the stuff we ride on a normal basis. But yeah. They always work with that guy, and they always get their hands on the new Specialized stuff. I was like, oh man, I need to try. And so when they did Dirt Days, I got a demo for one of their brand new e-bikes, and I didn't get a chance to ride it because I was filming so much. So the only time I rode it is when I went downhill Hoot, and I videoed, and all I was doing is jumping off the bike, recording, going, and then I would haul back up the top of the trail and did a second run and filmed. But that was it. I didn't actually ride the bike. I was like, I kind of wanted to ride this bike.
Yeah.
It was a bummer.
Huh.
One of these days, maybe Sedona will change it, but it's not going to happen because when we go to Sedona, we're just going to be hanging out and talking. I'm not going to go wait in line to get a bike. Yeah, right. You kidding me?
Yeah, I mean, depending on like, sometimes you can get bikes because you're you can pull the social media card and get a bike and not have to wait in line.
I'm counting on some company to come up to me and go, "Hey, wait a minute, aren't you the Calirado Kid? You've got like maybe 2,500 subscribers. You're really big. We'd love to give you a free bike." I'm sure that'll happen.
Yeah. This is. I'm going to tell you this. It's always weird. Actually, now I'm starting to not have this problem as much, but because I've done a bunch of Arizona videos.
Yeah.
But it used to be, dude, I'd go there and nobody knows who I am at all.
Yeah.
Because my content's like not. Like I ride almost anywhere here in Northern California and somebody will bump into me and know who I am. Like I have enough followers at this point that that happens. But down there, like,
isn't that funny?
I remember like my very first like Sedona, and obviously my channel was a lot smaller then too, but I'd walk around the whole time and everybody'd be like, "Who's this fat dude trying to give me a fucking sticker? Get away from me."
Isn't that funny? Yeah, it's so local. And I was giving Alan shit about this too, because we were down there and he rides Snow Summit and Sky Park all the time. So literally every other person was coming up like, Alan, like everybody knew him because that's his home. Like he basically just rides those places so many times. I was like, "You son of a bitch, Alan." I was like, "I can't wait till you come up to Northern California and nobody knows who you are. Okay. I just want you to know that right now. I can't wait for somebody to recognize me and not you."
Yeah.
Which is probably still not going to happen but that's it. It's like riding those local trails that you don't realize how regional that is until you travel. And I'm out in Colorado. People are like, "Who the hell are you?" I'm like, "The Calirado Kid." I'm like, "Rado's in my name. This is like my second home."
Right.
They're like, "How many times you ride here?" I'm like, 4 times.
Yeah. When I went to Texas and I rode with no front brakes.
Yeah.
I think one person actually bumped into me that day at was that Spider Mountain or whatever, that knew who I was. But other than that, it was like nobody. And it's not like, obviously I'm not in this for some like fame contest or something like that, but it's definitely like, it's interesting that you notice it. You know what I mean? Because when I go to Auburn, like there's no way I can go to Auburn and not see somebody.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, like, what is it that people are looking for that they find your stuff, or like whatever. Like, if it's so regional, it's obviously not all of mountain biking. People are looking for their local trails. Yeah, so it gives you an idea. It helps you like maybe shed light on what people are searching for when they come to YouTube and like, let me see that trail that I ride, and like that's how they find content creators in their local areas and stuff like that. So it is like it's almost like a little research thing when you find you find people.
I had a guy recently recognize me and not from mountain biking. And this is going to be interesting. It really kind of threw me off because I told him that I wasn't that guy. And then after the fact, I figured out what he was talking about. But he was like, "Oh, you're that workout dude." And I'm like, "No, I don't know." And I didn't even mention I had a YouTube channel because I was like, he doesn't know. He's like, "No, I've seen you on YouTube." And I'm like, "No." And he's like, "No, you look exactly like him." I'm like, But I realized like after the fact, he was like, he must've been watching the weight loss videos.
The weight loss videos. Yeah.
And I was like, son of a bitch. Like I totally like, he's like, he probably went home and like searched one of the videos. He's like, "No, that guy had the same tattoo. Like that was definitely
it had to be him." You looked at him like a crazy nutbag. You're like, "Get out of here. You bother me, kid."
Yeah. I didn't even tell him I had a YouTube channel either. I was like, "No, not me, dude."
Yeah.
It was just like, yeah. It was pretty funny once I realized it. I was like, "Wow, you're a dickhead."
Yep. One day I'm hoping somebody comes up to me on the street and goes, "Hey, you're the guy who built that studio shed in his backyard." I'm like, "Yeah, that was the mainstream breakthrough I was hoping for. Thank you." Yeah.
Right. I think the coolest time that I've ever got recognized was on a plane. I was like walking by some guy and he was like, "Hey," and I had my headphones on, so I couldn't really hear him. And I was just like, and then I like realized like after I was like 3 steps away, like what happened. And then I was like, turned around. I was like, "Oh, hey man." And then it's like, you got the people all, and you're like, "Sorry, dude."
You just got to make sure you stop the line and sign autographs first before everybody can board the plane. That's how you got to treat the situation, in my opinion.
But truth be told, it was a flight back to Sacramento. Mm-hmm. So It was once again, local Sacramento rider.
That's so interesting. It's like, man, you think about like what it takes. Like maybe these guys traveling around the country get bigger subscriber bases because they ride those trails that are in every region. Like Brian, for example. Brian, if you, any trail system anywhere, if you search for it, Brian's going to be the first video that pops up probably. So it's like, man, like there's something to that. Like no matter what, if you search for, Wisconsin, like mountain biking, BKXC video, it's like, cause he's just covered every base. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. I think you have to either do, excuse me. Apparently can't breathe water.
No.
I think you either have to do content that's not regional, like trail building, right?
Yep.
Or you have to just embrace the fact that you're going to be regionally popular.
Yeah.
The downside is where we're at, there's a lot of regionally popular guys.
Yeah.
And then we're also up against a very regionally popular guy. So it's like, it's like a bunch of us that are like 10K and smaller kind of channels or 20K and smaller kind of channels. And then you have Brian who also rides our trails. So, but, and is better at making thumbnails than us. So like, even though our video is newer, this is still getting put in the top of the list.
I'll just put his face on every thumbnail from now on. Nobody know the difference.
Right. That's a good idea, man. I'm just going to put Seth Bike Hacks on the bottom of it.
Seth. Riding with Seth in wherever, like every time. It's like riding with Seth. Let's just see how it goes.
Maybe if I get like a Seth bobblehead made and just put it on my handlebars, like then it would be like Seth Bike Hacks and Robert from B1KER. And if I use Seth Bike Hacks because that's not his channel name anymore, maybe it won't turn up on his radar and he won't like send his mafia to my house or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
You think Seth has a mafia? Wouldn't it be funny if Seth was really in the mafia? Like,
he controls it. He's like the tiny little guy that controls it.
He's like really, it's like the YouTube is a front for the millions of dollars that he's making on like prostitution and gambling. It's like, what a better way to get out in front of it than like just be on the internet, like full on, like, oh no, dude, I got a successful YouTube channel, of course. Why else am I driving this Maserati?
Oh my God, I can't even imagine it with him. He's just like, I've never met the guy, but like from what I understand, he's just incredibly intense and focused. And it's like, man, that's really what it takes. Like, it's just so like I talked to Brian. I was like, has he changed at all? Like since having a kid, has he slowed down? He's like, no, dude, like he's just so involved. Like, and it's gotta be his personality. It's pretty impressive.
I think you're the same way though, dude.
I think so, but I can't keep it up. Like I can keep it up in short spurts, but like I can't constantly do that. I have to like, I don't know. I have my like I think we all do, where you just have those moments where you just shut down. Like you're just like, man, I can't. It's not working right now. I can't sit down and edit. I have to go do something else or something like.
So you don't have like a super because maybe it's just because I see you on Instagram and like your live streams a lot. So what about your videos? You're not doing those as often.
I don't have a release schedule. Like there's numbers that I want to hit. I'd love to have them out every 2 weeks. But like, for example, this travel to San Diego, I ended up just spending more time with the family and not wanting to stay up all night editing. And then when I was hanging out with Alan, it was like, I didn't even really record because I was like, I kind of just wanted to like hang out and meet these guys,
Yeah, just have a good time.
Yeah, so like I didn't do as much as I should have done down there, so I'm a little behind. I've got a trail build video out of Brian's property that's in the works, and I've got the footage. I started editing it. It's just like I've been building this shed, so it's like I'm literally working and filming on this all day, and so then I want to sit down and edit the rest of the night. I'm just like, man, I got to have some time. So like a part of me feels the pressure to release, like because I know that when you release videos, that's how you get subscribers. You have to release videos, you know?
Yeah.
Like because you see those trends, you see like. If you get the chart goes, you get the views, then they come down here, and then it's this until you release something like a live stream, whatever else. So there's that pressure, but I wish I could. There's only so much time in the day, and but I don't like have a release schedule per se. But I'd love to do them every 2 weeks. But man, I'm behind on this one because I'm trying to build this place out. I'm trying to do everything else. I got a family too, so you know how it is.
I've been doing a better job at releasing on Patreon than I have on YouTube.
Yeah.
I realized it just the other day. I was like, I don't know why I'm yelling. Like I realized just the other day that I was like looking at YouTube and it was like, oh, you haven't put out a video in over a month. And I'm like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
And then I looked and it was like 4 different videos that were on Patreon. And I was like, oh, Well, that's why I was putting them up there and feeling like I was making content, but it wasn't putting them on the actual internet.
It's hard, man, especially when we got to produce content for so many different mediums. Like where I put together, I do a live stream, then I put together clips for IG. It's like, it doesn't ever stop. And I feel like everybody in chat understands this because there's a lot of YouTubers in here, like Semi-Sendy, Jay, MTV Rad Dad. These guys all know the same struggle, but like, it's not like you make a video and then it's done. You're taking clips from that and you're promoting it. You're promoting yourself. Then you're doing,
that's what live
stream. Yeah. When I do live streams, then I know. Yeah. But you're like, when you do the biker bar, I know you're doing clips from those occasionally. I know that you got burnt out on that, but I saw you doing some recently.
Man. I tried to like reinvigorate myself recently, and I did for like 2 or 3 weeks. I like had them out again, and I was like proud of myself, and I was working through my backlog, and then like, it's tough, dude.
The thing
is,
I
really want to just pay some kid to do it.
I don't mind because especially when like there's a good joke that I filmed and I know that it's good and it hits, like I just don't know how to get the most eyes on it. Like for example, so we did a live stream. I don't know if you probably didn't see the live stream, but we did a live stream at Sky Park, and then we had set up. All right, we were riding downhill all day at Sky Park, and then we were setting up the live stream. This is like 6 o'clock at night. We go live, so it was about 5 o'clock. I'm pretty much done. Rad Dad's there, MTV Allen, Outsider. We're all just hanging out, waiting to start. And I wanted to film this bit, and I was like, I got this idea for filming this like 90s sitcom style bit at the park. Yeah. So you saw the clip, and I knew that it was like, I was like, all right, here's what I want. I want us to like, I wanted to really build up like how we were riding downhill all day, and it was super sick. And I was like, there's all these features out here, and check out some of the features. And it was like, instead of mountain biking, it was us just enjoying like all the little puppet shows and like all the other stuff, where it's like a 90s music sitcom. And
it was really funny.
And so we filmed that in 10 minutes, like boom, boom. Like literally I was running around with the guys. I'm like, let's go there. And they're like, what about there? I'm like, let's go. We're jumping in stuff, doing all this stuff. And then I came back, edited it. Like all this happened within 30 minutes. And I threw it in the queue for the live stream and was able to get it up. But it was like funny stuff like that like kind of elevated it. And then I knew I wanted to make a clip of that and put it up. So like, but
that's StreamYard on your live streams.
No, I use Streamlabs OBS now. So there's more back end. It's a lot harder to handle guests. Like this is so much easier to handle guests.
Yeah, I used to use OBS too, but like that's why I stopped, was exactly the guest thing. This is like super easy for having guests.
Yeah, but it's so easy. Yep.
So you just like pre-uploaded the video in there, so it's like all ready to go.
Yeah, so I basically have been building scenes in there, and I'm getting better and better with the program. Like that's why I've focused heavily on like locally live streams with people now, because I can produce them really well. Yeah. But like it's so hard to do a guest virtually, because somebody mentioned it like in the comments, like, what if you had people come in live virtually too? And I'm like, well, then you got to have some sort of wireless monitoring device, because when we're doing fireside chats, for example, like we don't have headphones in, because I don't want it to look like I don't want it to look like a broadcast. I want it to look casual in front of a fire. Yeah. And so like then you're talking like maybe Bluetooth bud sets, which is more budget.
I don't think you need that, dude. I think you can just use a speaker, because I mean I've done plenty of live streams with my TV putting the audio in where I had somebody else talking, and
the only downside is those Rodes are omnidirectional. Any lav mic is generally omnidirectional, so this wouldn't pick it up so much as like that would. Yeah. So maybe I'll come up with an ideal solution.
I think you can test it.
That's what it is. Every live stream I do a different thing, and so like every time I learn something new, so I'm just evolving it over time. But yeah, it's been fun.
StreamYard has an ability to load videos. That's what I was wondering. I need to test that actually.
It does work. Yeah, I've done it before.
And it works really well. Mm-hmm. Because I was thinking about doing an intro instead of like just some kind of intro into the podcast where it's just pre-recorded, and maybe then I would do like whatever my bit is about, come follow my Instagram, all that stuff I talk about at the beginning. If I get a sponsor or something like that, like they're like could be pre-recorded at the beginning, and then just start with the guests, like boom, we're ready to go.
Yeah, I think I've done it before I transitioned from StreamYard or whatever, and it's super easy to do in here. It just treats as an element down below. You just hit go, and you can even like have you in the corner if you wanted to. Like, remember, I did a while ago, I did a bit where I interviewed myself, like, and basically I had me as a live guest where I pre-filmed it, and I did that in StreamYard.
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, where I filmed it, and I have a clip on IG somewhere. Maybe I'll send it. But like basically, like I used myself in one window and the other one, and I was looking at each other. It took me a bunch of practices to like look in the right direction to like look at each other, but but I did it live on stream, and it was pretty good.
Oh, that's pretty rad.
So it's totally possible. You just gotta like play around with it for sure.
Yeah. It just takes time. You know, the more that you do on the channel, like what you were talking about earlier, it's just you realize how some of these bigger channels end up with this like team of people to like make the channel happen, you know, where it's like I don't know, let's just say somebody that's like Mr. Beast, you know, that's huge. Like they have editors and camera operators and you know what I mean? Like it's not like him just running around with a camera like holding it out, you know, selfie style and filming. And you understand how it happens because like what you were saying, like the time to take that apart and break down clips. And like I really wanted to like maybe start posting some stuff on TikTok. But I think to myself, it's like how much time do you have? Like
and
I
you gotta
really
go
need to
film
be
it
a
all
full-time
vertically
YouTuber,
too. It's like totally different from what we normally do. You got to go film it all vertically, and whenever you try to like crop that in, it never looks good. So then you're talking about like, you got to go film something totally different for this other platform, which would translate to IG, whatever else. But it's like, man, like again, somebody like, okay, so Kyle mentioned this the other day. We did the Fireside Chat, and then I uploaded it to Spotify and Apple and all that stuff. I was like, hey, if you guys want to go listen to it there, great. And he's like, oh, I'm sure people are really going to appreciate the part where my mic broke up. I was like, I don't give a shit, Kyle, because everyone's getting free content already. Like, how much more work can we give them for free? Like, and nobody complained about it. Everybody gets what we're doing here. But you know what I mean? Where it's like, what if they complain? I'm like, I don't care if they complain, Kyle. All this is free for everyone to see. Like, like there is, I'm not getting, you know what I mean? So it's like, there's so much work that we have to go to put into it. It's like, that's a minor inconvenience compared to like, you know, whatever.
It's a really fun hobby though.
Oh, it's so good. Like, it's like, look, how can you not think about anything else? It's like so fun. Like that Downeyville video was literally like, I was having so much fun editing it. Like it reminded me of why I really enjoy it. It was so intricate, but playing around with some of the new tech and the graphics I was working with and all this stuff, like I was having a lot of fun. I texted a couple of people beforehand. I'm like, I don't really think this video is going to do great, but like I'm having so much fun putting it together. It doesn't matter because I'm investing in my own education. Like I always tell people before, like if you can learn one thing in each video, a new thing, then you're going to, over a year's time frame, you're going to be a light years difference in terms of editing and whatever else. Yeah. And you can look at that Downeyville video I made versus the Downeyville video I made exactly a year ago, and they are nothing alike. And that's something you told me when I made the Yeti Gathering video, and I was like, man, this thing's more intricate than I've ever made. And you're like, yeah, but you're gonna look back at this and like it's gonna be crappy compared to like, you know what I mean? Like right now it's your best, but later on it's not even close. Yeah. And you're 100% right, you know?
It's really weird. I enjoy it though, man. Like honestly, dude, it would be awesome if this thing just freaking blew up and I could quit my job and be a real YouTuber, right? Yeah. Really real one.
I'm a real YouTuber now.
Yeah. You know, but if it doesn't play out that way, which judging by my track record, probably not. Like it's a fun little side gig, man. It's like super fun. I've met so many rad people. I've had so much fun. I've documented the shit out of my life. Oh yeah. Like I feel like I could get hit by a bus at any point in time and my grandkids would still know me. You know what I mean? Like my kids would be able to be like, hey, look, watch this one. This is the type of bullshit that grandpa used to do. Yep. Except for he would bring me with him. You know, like you know, so I don't know. That's really fun. So.
It's totally true. When you think about like what do you consider success? And it's like, man, knowing that like so many rad people know who you are and you met so many new friends is pretty world expanding. Like just meaning like somebody said it once was in one of the chats where they're like, you know, also you're never more than like one viral video away from like tons of subscribers. So it's like that's partially true. Look at what Bobo's doing. He's gained like 35,000 subscribers in a couple months changing formats slightly. Yeah. But like just like, again, definable success in what you do. It's like, is having this rad network of people that you never would have known had you not started this channel, is that reward enough? Maybe not. Maybe we want $1 million too. But like, just like knowing people across the country that are willing to like let you stay at their place or like show you the trail systems or like you can talk to on a regular basis for advice. That's so cool, man. It's so cool.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out what my niche is.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not sure what it is right now. You know, I am enjoying the videos that I'm making. Yeah. You know what I mean? But I feel like I have to come up with some sort of like, this is my thing. This is what I'm good at. You know, like basically like Bobo for a long time, I was always saying to myself, like, and to friends, like, that guy should be doing sketches and that's it.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason he should be doing any POV, any kind of a review, any kind of just sketches and that's it. And that's what he's doing now. And look at him. He's killing it.
Yep.
Right. And like, I think you're pretty good with the sketches, but man, you're like really killing it too with like your like full on documentary style, I guess you could say, of like a review of a place.
Yeah.
Like how you did Hoot. I feel like Hoot was like a learning experience for you to do the Downeyville video.
Yep.
And that video was amazing. Like I have a rough cut edit of like a first timer to Downeyville on my Patreon that people saw. And this is like a couple weeks ago. And I was like, oh, I need to go back and film some other things that while I was doing the rough cut, I was like, oh, I need some shots of this and some shots of that. I'm going to go back and get that stuff and I'm going to put this video out. And then your video dropped and I'm like, yep, never going to do it. Like, rough cut is just staying on Patreon because you just freaking killed it. And I was like, you know, I don't know. I think that's what I've been doing lately with some of my trail videos is kind of taking a step back to like where my roots were. And even though the POV is kind of like, let's just say YouTube POV is dead, I feel like being regionally popular is not. And what is really helps people, and I still have people come up and tell me that they're watching my old videos so that they could see some certain trail.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know, I noticed that whenever I would go on rides with people that were new, let's just say I'm taking them down Connector, like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be like, at the beginning, I'm going to be like, hey, this is a roller. It's got this and it's got this. There's a little punchy part in the middle. And like, keep that in mind. You got a little break on this downhill, then it's going to be a climb, you know, and like, why am I not doing that on my videos? Yeah. Because that's actually what fucking people want to know about the trail when they're like, oh, I've never ridden Auburn before. What's that trail like?
Yeah.
You know? And so I've been trying to do that, but, I don't know. We'll see. I really want to start doing I was going to post this on Patreon for help, but maybe somebody here in the comments or the chat later or the chat now, the comments later can come up with something. I want to do like 90-second reviews because I hate doing reviews and I hate like all the B-roll and the different angles and whatever, but I have a solid opinion on a lot of shit, right? Like that I've bought and things that I've bought and never used, things that I've bought and used the hell out of. And I was thinking like, I hate when I'm on YouTube, I'm trying to get a review of something and it's like 6 minutes of them telling you to follow them. And then like, oh wait, my sponsor's ad, and then wait, oh now there's a video playing.
Then you got to do the pre-roll video of like, here's my logo for 30 seconds. Like, welcome to the channel.
Yeah,
you're like, fucking don't need any of this.
Okay, we're gonna get into the nitty gritty, and then they start talking about, oh, and by the way, don't forget about my shirt. And you're like, 9 minutes into the video, they actually tell you something about the product, right?
Yep.
And so I want to do like 90-second reviews where it's just like. And this is kind of what like Hardtail Party kind of inspired me. No, like nothing fancy in the background going on in his videos. He's just standing there next to his bike rack, like talking about this new frame that he got, right? And his videos aren't super like lots of B-roll and pretty shots and angles, and his channel's growing great.
Yep.
So I'm like, do these little like 90-second shorts that are just like, you know, hey, here's this you know, this Hero 4 that I got right here, and it's still really good. You can pick them up on freaking eBay for, you know, $60 right now or whatever it is. Get it. You can from 4K, and if you need stabilization, buy a Evo SS. Other than that, forget about it. You know, and that's it. You know, like something just really quick like that where I could put out those easily once a week.
If anything, social
media. But I want a catchy name for it. That's what I'm looking for.
We'll come up with something. If anything, social media has taught us is that is exactly what people want. Like, look at TikTok videos, look at shorts, look at all this stuff. You see incredible amounts of views on stuff that's just simple and effective and to the point. It's like boom, these pedals, they clip in. Here's what I like them. The spikes, adjustable, boom, boom, boom. And I've always been a firm believer, even before I even started any of this stuff, was that content is king. It doesn't matter how well it's shot. It doesn't matter how well it's executed. If you provide something good, even if it looks or sounds shitty, people will find it and they will like it. So you could spend tons of money on gear, but you don't need to. If you've got a good creative vision and you can execute it, look at TikTok videos. I mean, they're getting 97 million views because it's just some dude with a cell phone coming up with a creative way to execute a plan. And it's like, dude, content is king. Always will be. If you've got something cool to say, even if you had the crappiest mic in the world, people would come check it out because you're like, dude, this guy's awesome. He's funny as hell, or whatever. Like, it doesn't matter. So I like this 90-second idea where it's like, no nonsense, no B-roll. Like, today we're reviewing this. Boom. Here's what I like. Here's what I don't like. You should go check it out, or you shouldn't. Like, boom, that should be it. Like, all right, cool. Like, that'd be rad, dude. I think and you could film like 5 at a time and just drop them, like you said, once a week or something, and you'd have a ton in the can. Yeah,
I just feel like, or even, whatever it is, there's so many products, man, that they don't have enough. There's not enough content to make a real video out of it, right? Yeah. And then if you do multiple ones, like, there's no good way to thumbnail that.
Yep.
Where, like, unless you're doing like five best mountain bike products under $5, but even then it's just like, I don't know, man. I just feel like, I don't know. I don't like doing reviews. I don't. Yeah. And because it's just like my bike build video. I don't do well with like 1 billion shots and you're awesome at that, like putting it all together. I lose my creative interest in it.
Yeah.
And
it depends. It depends on the content. Like, if it's like something you're having fun doing, it's funner. But like, I think that was a recent discovery of mine, was that like, and I kind of got into a rut, but basically like talking about how the channel's doing, like there was a point where I was like getting too professional with stuff, and I was like, that's not me. Like, so like really like the come to terms was that, like, I did a bike video over at Auburn Bike Park, but then I came to this realization that I'm just going to make whatever the hell I want. And like that, the Downeyville video was a culmination of that. I had fun putting that together, and like I put it out without the expectation that it would do anything. But like at the end of the day, I've discovered like I can either try to please everyone and be successful, or I can enjoy what I'm doing. And I kind of turned that corner. I was like, I was really like struggling with trying to like how to make generic videos that everyone in the world would like so that I would get more subscribers. And that was not the answer to what I wanted to do with this channel. I've discovered I was more important to my sanity was like making stuff that's super fun, and I'm having fun putting together and challenging myself on each video, and 100%. Who knows where it'll go. But that freed me up quite a bit. Like, it really helped, because I was struggling for a minute there, just trying to figure out the next concept that everyone will love. So that's what will bring all this, like, that was the driving force, and I had to let go of it. Like, I had to just be like, maybe it's not that. Maybe it's just me digging what I'm liking, make what I like, and people will come along for the ride, and like that really helped my sanity, honestly. So now it's like, there's no right answer for me. I'm going to make whatever I want. Like, and that's probably going to screw me in the long run, but whatever.
I don't think so, because I think when you're doing something that you're enjoying, that's how you get to be successful.
Yeah, and that, like I said, that Downeyville video was so fun for me to put together. I really was having a blast putting it together. And so now it's like getting creative with the angles, playing around with music and timing, and doing all. And like I said, always trying to learn a new thing on each video and how to implement it. And like, it's always just, it feels like I'm cheating, because when I put a video out, like, it was fun for me because I'm learning something. But then like, it's like, these suckers are watching it too. Like, like at the end of the day, it's like cool, because it's like almost like going to school. I'm getting like, I'm learning a ton, like just my knowledge base is increasing, and then I get to put it out, but like it's more selfishly about me, like improving my skill. And that's, I think, I'm going to go out
in my backyard and put my drone up about 3 feet, like maybe 6 feet up off the ground, and just smash that fucker with a baseball bat so I can buy one of those Skydios. Because every time I watch your video, that's all I'm thinking about is I can't wait for my drone to die so I can buy one of those Skydios. However, I'm like secretly hoping that my drone lasts long enough for the next version of the Skydio to come out, because I feel like they're going to make the wings like collapsible. And at that point, I'll be like, oh, that would be the best camera ever, right?
Man, that's the only downside, is like, I'm trying to find a new camera bag to be able to fit everything in, because you saw my setup on the Downeyville. I had the hip pack and the backpack and all that stuff. If I could find a situation where I could have the drone and the camera and everything in one, like, it works, but it doesn't fully work yet. But I don't know if there's actually a solution for my problem yet. But dude,
Yeah.
that thing is so cool. Like when I mix in the follow cam with the rail shots that I got and stuff, like that was arduous as hell, but it's like so fun to play with that too. It's like, oh man, I got that shot. I couldn't believe it. Like, like
Downeyville's
so
such
cool.
a fun ride though, to be like, to get the shots that you did. You said you guys were there for like 3 days.
Yeah, that was 3 runs of footage in a 14-minute video.
Oh, just 3 runs.
Yeah,
Okay.
so 3 shuttles up, like basically to get that.
You guys were just doing 1 shuttle a day?
We did 2 on Saturday. We did 1 on Sunday. So Friday was technically like we got into town and we hung out and stuff. But yeah.
2 shuttles in a day is a pretty good day. I feel like I could definitely do 3, but I think that third one needs to be like.
Not when you're carrying like 20 pounds of extra camera gear, man. It was brutal.
No, I'm just saying like in general, like riding there. Like I feel like the third one though has to be like everybody's down to just take as much time and like nobody's trying to pedal like for a purpose, you know?
Totally. Yeah. Because even that second run, like towards the end of it, I was feeling beat. But again, I was carrying tons of gear. But yeah, on a normal run time, I feel like you could haul 2 runs pretty quick. And then the third one, like you said, just be kind of a chill cruise.
Yeah.
But I don't know that man, if you're there for the whole weekend, like that's a lot. Like, especially if you're doing, I haven't hit second divide in a long time, by the way. Next time I go out there, I got to hit second divide because everybody wants to go third divide because it's fast. But I'm like, I like everything. So I haven't been there to second divide in years.
I keep telling myself I'm going to do one of those other like trails like Big Boulder or Holly Creek or something like that. And it just keeps not happening.
Yeah.
The second divide, I haven't ridden in a long time. I know the last time I rode it, it's like Super XC and it just like irritated me because I was like, I'm in Downeyville. Why am I freaking pedaling like this? You know?
Yeah. That's what everybody says.
I'm in like a different state of mind now than I was then. So it's just tough, you know, because like third divide is pretty damn fun. So
it's too damn cool once you like. There's that no brake challenge. It's like you can't make it too far without braking on that thing. It gets fast,
yeah, fast, really fast. Yeah,
it gets fast, really fast,
really fast. That's funny. I was gonna ask you something that had to do with that, and now I can't remember.
But go ahead.
You were talking about like filming things that are super fun for you. What's up with the next like Trailhead Troopers, dude?
I was thinking about that too. I know the intro. I need to script it all out because now I feel like there's so much pressure because of all the skills that I've gained cinematography wise. Like I need to implement all those in the next one. Like literally, Robert, what we're going to film is we have to make a television episode. And that's basically what's on my plate. And it's kind of daunting. And I know that we can all work together and like come up with we've come up with a basic storyline. I think we need to come up with the scenes and we just need to we need to put a weekend in like 3 weeks from now. We need to put it on the books and just do it because that's the best. That's the only way. Like sometimes I'll forget because I'm working on this other stuff. I think we just need to pick a weekend where everyone's available and just put it on the books. And then there's the positive pressure.
We can even do scenes though. Like it doesn't have to be all filmed in one day.
I know it's really true, especially for what we're trying to do now. Yeah. I was trying to think of, we won't disclose all of this. So I was trying to think of the best location to film it where we could have an epic chase sequence too. I was like, dude, we got to have another epic chase sequence at the end. And I was like, where's the best place to do that? Because Eastside was perfect for the drone and everything, and we did it in one take. We're going to need more takes this time. We're going to need to do it pretty, like we're going to need to do it Hoot style on like the final just imagine like the amount of effort that I put into the Hoot video is going to have to be just the final chase sequence in this episode. It's going to be nuts. Like this one's I think
we could probably do like Skyline. Because like that river, whatever that climb is that you do from the golf course up to the actual park, like that's pretty open.
It is, and it's a pretty cool view too. But like my thought also was like almost Nevada City, not for the drone per se, but just as our vehicles are accessible, like being able to, like if we go to a long ride in, we have to bring all the gear in with us. Like the benefit that we had at Auburn was being able to get right to the car, and we filmed all those scenes in that one area. Yeah. So thinking about that too, like we'll have to find a way to execute.
Yeah, but I think I guess this is what I'm getting at. First of all, if you guys haven't gone and watched the Trailhead Troopers video on Calirado Kid's channel, go check it out. It's kind of like a Starship Troopers versus Reno 911 and mountain biking kind of episode. It was super fun to make. Really, he did a great job editing it, and everybody had a lot of fun out there. And the day that we filmed that, and then after we released the video, everybody was talking about we definitely need to like do this more often. So in my head, though, I'm thinking if it's more of a show, like we can have like in the office scene, and we can have like
I want a station, like a station,
yeah, we can have like the like bike some stealing the bike actually from the bike shop.
Yeah.
Right. And then the chase scene is like, hey, let's set up all the cameras and go out and ride Oat Hill Mine and come down that hill, and it'd be like, oh yeah. Cause like, as far as an episode goes, like the part of it could be shot where we're standing around in Auburn and the downhill chase scene is in some other city. That doesn't really matter that it's not like in the same place that we were arguing about like catching bike some, you know what I mean?
Point. It's a good point.
So I think it's a matter of just kind of figuring out what your storyline is, and then let's shoot that. I mean, like anything where it's you and Kyle, like you and the cops, let's just say it that way, and like any of those scenes can be filmed anywhere.
Yeah,
they could be filmed in your backyard. They could be filmed at the coffee shop. Like they could be filmed at the bike shop. Like, and they could be filmed over like several weeks. Like, hey, it's just you and Kyle and me, and we're gonna have this donut scene. And that's it. So you get that clip and you put it in your spot, and then you can kind of work on it a little bit at a time too, because man, that must have been like a beast to edit last time.
And I think we talked about it. It was like the thing was like, as soon as I started editing, I was having so much fun editing that I just kept going. Like, like sometimes you max out on time, you can edit and stuff, but like you guys were all like, how'd you get that out so quick? It was just because it was, again, like so much fun. So like, I know that's what's going to happen here when we do this next one. And like, so it's like, yeah, you're right. We just need to put it on the books. We need to start planning it out and all that stuff. I'm ready to do it, man. I'm fucking ready to go. Although, like you said,
the story, like, honestly, if you just did it very vaguely, because last time you didn't have anything written. No. And I felt like you have enough people that could ad lib well there that we kept the direction. And I mean, there was a few people that were like, oh, this is not scripted very well. And
the actors didn't know their lines. I'm like, what actors? I have less than 1,000 subscribers, you idiot. Right? Hire actors, you dummy.
Yeah. So I feel like the more that we play the characters, the more we can get into it.
Oh yeah.
So I thought it was fun.
No, it was so fun, man. Yeah, we need to do it. I think it was funny because you were like, you're going to regret wearing that leather jacket in the summer. And so maybe I need to switch from like a leather jacket to a members only jacket, like as a scene.
Why don't you get like a leather vest though, like the same color, like an Indiana Jones vest or something?
Yeah.
Like it would be like
tire pressure pump in here and some stuff. Like, I don't know.
That would be kind of funny that we could like bag on you about your jacket. Like, and you'd be like, dude, I just cut the sleeves off, man. Come on. Yeah. Yeah.
It's going to be good. I know John's going to be on board. He's in here too. Active Life 2.0. We got to get him back on the camera. I've got multiple cameras now, and the camera that I have now is much more capable too. So it's going to be pretty fun to play with.
Yeah. You started giving me some camera envy the last time we were talking. I like went all in on my 6600, that the Sony APS-C, I believe, the compact
crop sensor.
Yeah. And I was like, this is going to be good enough for me. And then you start like doing all this shit with your glass and your like full frame. I'm like, oh wow, that's definitely better than mine.
Oh, sweet full frame. I will say it like it is the greatest camera I've ever owned. It wasn't cheap to do it, but man, oh man, is it fun to play with. And like having a variable.
I feel I'm not using my camera well enough yet to like warrant it yet though.
No, like that still shoots really incredible stuff. And like I've got a 6500 as my backup camera. So that's my like second camera angle. I use that with this one. And then I have the GoPro for the establishing and the live streams. But like I was oftentimes using prime lenses and I found those very limiting. Like having a variable lens that's really good has been helpful because I can get those long shots, those short shots, and those like, so when I take that on a trail, it just gets every shot that I need versus being needed to be closer. And it's just, it makes it so much funner to shoot with because I know I can get the shot. So that's really what it's enabled me to do more than anything is like just sheer versatility.
Yeah. I think I've definitely enjoyed the photography. That's another thing that we need to set up too that we've done in the past that I think you weren't on the last time, but
I think you, Ashley, and Kyle went out, right?
Yeah, I did a little photo shoot, and there's some other people that I've been talking to recently that were interested in doing it as well. And like, we should set another one of those up. Go out, do a fun ride, and take some pictures.
I think that'd be rad, and we can even translate it to like picture/video sometimes too. Be like, hey, let me show you how I did this trick, or how like, and that'd be a cool way to like exchange skill sets. But yeah, the photography side, I used to be more involved with the photography side. I haven't really specialized in that in a long time. Like, I don't even know how to take a picture anymore. Like, I know composition, but like in terms of like, especially going into like Lightroom and stuff and actually color correcting for the photo, and like these guys like Peter McKenna and stuff make these incredible shots look really rad. Yeah. I just take a picture and put it into something. Like, that's the extent of what I do with a picture now.
Yeah.
I kind of miss that. I did a black and white photography class when I was in high school. We went to the local community college with my dad, and we had to go to the dark room and develop the film and all that stuff. That was actually like really interesting. Like, it's funny. It's all those skill sets. Like, how many things can you learn at one time? I was telling somebody, because we go to Mexico, we try to go like once a year to visit my wife's family out there. They're amazing, but they always give me crap for not knowing Spanish. And I'm like, it's because I'm so busy trying to learn this other thing. I don't have time to fit more things into my head. Like, it's a great excuse, but like, man, I can't. I started to learn guitar before I started the YouTube channel, and then I was like, I just tossed it. Like, I was like, it's obviously like I can only fit so many things in my brain at one time. And like learning how to edit and manage and do your social media and all that stuff. It's like it's a whole new skill set. It's like constantly learning.
I think running a social media channel or whatever you want to call, like, because we have like different legs to what we're doing, I guess, I don't know, however you say it, like brand, a social media brand. It encompasses all your free time. So, and it'll take more time than you have if you want. Yeah. Like if I wanted to, I could work on things for my channel all day, every day. And I could actually work on things for my channel all day, every day for like 3 or 4 weeks, and not even one of those things be making a video.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's crazy how everything just gets scattered. Like, even if you wanted to take time to develop a shirt again, another shirt, like there's the design process, there's the source, like there's the more, like that's hours of the day, like that it could have been spent editing or could have, like, so there's no way to singularly focus on just videos, unfortunately, because there's so many other, we all get pulled apart from different directions. Then like, I got to go film. And then when you film all day, it's like, dude, I don't know if I want to go edit tonight. Like I can't spend 12 hours of work in a day sometimes. It's like, it's a lot. You got to just manage the time, and it's like, man, it's always tricky.
The thing is I'm a person that likes to be busy, and I do well under pressure, and I feel like that's what my channel has afforded me. It just took me a while to learn how to like handle it and like manipulate it well, where it's like use that pressure and that like thing that I always have something to do when I need it, and be able to turn it off. And that's really what I've learned how to do in the last like year is, you know what? Not doing a biker bar this weekend because I'm going to go camping with my buddies, and fuck it. It's like, this isn't paying the bills. And even if it was, I still need to have sanity, of like who I am and what like my own life experience and stuff like that. And if I allow myself, because I'm like, I get over enrolled into things, like I would stay up here and edit and work on shit and never like talk to people, and you know what I mean? Like, like, and that's not what I want to do. So I feel like I've like, even though this is a side thing, like my work-life balance of my social media presence has gotten way better, like way more roped in this year, where I'm like, I don't need to film every ride. I don't really care about filming every ride. I don't really care if my videos come out every week, every other week. I try to shoot for every month. And sometimes I'm like, I'm going to do every 2 weeks. And sometimes I'll do that for a little bit, and sometimes I won't. But what I've been doing the most, though, that I do like is just these Patreon only ones that I've been creating, because I don't put a lot of like editing expertise into it. It's kind of like my videos whenever I first started, where I can go do a ride and I can like cut it into the fun parts and throw a thumbnail up, and then I give it to the guys on Patreon, and it's just there. And it's not like,
it's like that same thing I'm talking about. You don't have that pressure of like trying to appeal to the mass audience, and that all of a sudden it's funner. Like, it's like, oh, you're not trying to come up with this concept that everyone will love and everyone will subscribe to. It's like, let me just go put this thing out that I know people like. And it's like, oh, that's way easier.
And that's why I've been doing it for Patreon. Cause it's like, cause I ride a shit ton now, dude. I'm riding all the time. So it's like, it's really easy for me to put a GoPro on any one of those rides and just have a good time. And like, it's fun for the people on Patreon. And it's not a video that's gonna be on YouTube ever. You know, where some guys are like, you get Patreon exclusive videos, but it's really just rough cuts, right?
Yeah.
So like, and that's cool. I'm not saying anything's wrong with that because I do the same thing, but these are like videos that are actually just there and that's it.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's cool. And I don't know, man. It's fun to do. It's fun to make those videos where it's just like you do the ride, the next day you can go through the edit in like 2 hours and you're like, sweet, that was fun. Right there it is. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Like the shed video I did was actually I put together pretty quick. Other than filming the process as it was going up, putting it together was pretty quick. I did that one fast. I did it like maybe in a night, and I was like, I told the wife, I was like, "Come here and check. This is super professional. Check this out." Like, and it came together really well. And I put it out, and like the company, I reached out to them on Instagram. I sent them the video. I was like, "Hey, like, this is cool. I'm really digging your product. Like, this has been awesome. This is kind of what I did with it so far." And the social media person was like, "Oh, I love this." Like, and so she's like, "Can I share this on our social media? Can I put it here? Can I send it out in our newsletter?" I'm like, "Yeah, do whatever you want with it." I don't like, it's rad. And so like, come to find out,
do I get a discount? Refund like 20%?
Yeah. God, dear God. Yes. But come to find out, talk with her. The owners of the company are two professional mountain bikers. They're professional racers. So I was like, oh, that's a cool relationship to have. So as I'm working on the latest video for this, like I've been filming everything, and it's going to be the one I actually do that's going to be the full build out will be my MTV Cribs style breakout hit. Trust me.
Yeah. That's the one.
But you know, it's gonna be cool because like then I'll send that to him and all that stuff. But it's like it's coming together well, and it's a fun little project that pertains to a lot of the stuff that we do in terms of like how to build out sound dampening and in production stuff. So it's been cool, and that was a fun little edit that I could put together quick. So realizing they don't always need to be these fully intricate, like, you know, 40-hour editing builds and rides and all this stuff. So now like thinking of all the sub stuff that I could do.
Yeah, my weight loss videos, the weight loss vlog videos went together really easy too. It would usually be like, because I would just be recording little clips of like, hey, I stood on this scale today or whatever. Or sometimes I would just go and sit out in the garage and like record whatever I wanted to say and then turn that into a video, right?
Yeah,
with some B-roll and stuff. And those went together really fast, and they were always like, there's something about like going out and recording something and sitting down and editing it and being done like with a finished product like within like a couple of hours.
Oh, that's so nice.
It's like so like it just feels really good.
Yeah.
Like you're like, oh wow, that was like it feels productive, or I don't know what it is, but you're just like, I had this idea a couple hours ago and now it's on the internet. And you're like, that was fun. You know?
Yeah. It's totally true. It's funny. It's like, oh man, like versus like sitting on a video that like this video I'm working on right now, which is like the build video over at Brian's property. It's like this, we filmed this over a month ago because like he hasn't unveiled stuff that's in the video yet. So I'm like, I don't want to be the guy to unveil this stuff that should be unveiled in your channel. And it's not like I'm going to have some big, it's not like I'm gonna have some big impact on him. Like he doesn't really care. But I was like, dude, I want you to announce the name. I want you I don't want that coming out in my video. So if he's not gonna get to it, I might just bleep it out and be like, you gotta go see Brian's video to see the real name of the place and all this stuff. Because I don't want to be the guy to announce it.
Well, they have a bunch of stuff too going on up there. Like I totally know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because Aaron said a few things to me, and like I've been up there and seen some of the stuff that they're doing, and so it's like in one hand, I was like, man, I'd like to come up and make a video up here, but I'm like, well, I guess I gotta wait till like they establish whatever things that they're doing, you know?
Yeah.
So, but I don't know.
I think in general, it's gonna be a really fun thing for all us locally because it's all in our backyard. Yeah. And we can have a hand in it, and like we can all come up with cool trails, and like I know Brian wants people to come up and document, and like so imagine like BCPOV coming out and building features, because I don't know how to build features, so that would be cool if he came out and built the wooden features, you know, and like I could just treat that as a class. I would just go watch him build and learn. Like so that to me is super fun and interesting, to seeing people from across the country come in, and one, we get to hang out with them, but two, like learning skills from everybody seems like a really cool opportunity, and like it's in our backyard, and we can all maybe hopefully have a hand in it. And like, that's really cool. It's like like our community coming together, and that's super rad.
I'm going to say this to anybody that hasn't gone out and built a trail legally or illegally, however you want to go about it, go do it. Like it totally changes a lot of how you like look at mountain biking, and for a good, in a good way, like a really good way.
It really does.
Yeah. I totally go through like rides now and I'm like, man, this builder freaking dialed. Like,
Yep.
like how did they make this climb feel like I'm going downhill? You know, you're like,
Yep.
like whoever cut in, you know, Rockville pretty well.
Yep.
Like, what is that? Middle Mystic that's on the backside of the hill there.
Yeah.
That's like you go over the little wooden bridge to climb back up. Like
Yep.
if you came down, like usually I come down Lower Mystic and then go back up Middle.
Yep.
And somehow Middle Mystic doesn't feel like you're climbing at all.
You're right. You're right.
Like there's
Yep.
like two little punchy spots where you're like, oh, get over this rock, but it's kind of fun, you know.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh wow, I'm at the top. How did I do that? Like that's fucking amazing, you know. Or you'll be going down some downhill and you'll like cut some turn. And you'll be like, they should have widened that one out a little bit.
Yep.
You know. Like,
Yep.
you know?
Totally true. Now you're like, oh, I see what they did here. They didn't get it.
Yeah.
Like after doing the trail building stuff, I've gained a new appreciation for like Downeyville, for example, riding there again for the first time since last year or whatever. Now I've done some drill build days. I was like, man, some of the stuff they did, the way they designed that trail system is incredible because like you start off with an easy warm up lap there's some pedaling involved, which some people don't like, but I like it because it gets your legs warmed up.
Yeah.
You're tackling a couple easy berms, some little minor bits of chunk, but before you hit Butchers, it's really kind of tame, but it is your warm up lap. And then you jump into Butchers. Okay. You throw a little bit more gnarly, you get a few more pieces of chunk, a couple stream crossings. You're like, okay, there's still some pedals. Okay.
Yeah.
Then you hit the ravine. Yeah. And once you hit the ravine, then it's on. Like after that, you're thrown into it. And it's like, dude, without that stuff before it, if you just started with that, like I like that the way they pace that ride. And then after you hit third divide, which is maximum speed, then you hit first divide, which is kind of a calm XC, relax, get back out in the zone, and you get back into town. It's like the perfect sandwich, you know, like it just really just gives you the right of everything. And just the intensity is all right in the middle. It's like a good movie, good plot, right? Like you have
and even at the very end of first divide, they still give you like a kind of fun downhill. Like it's not as fun as everything else that you've ridden, but it's like fun enough that you finish and you're like, dude, high fiving, fist bumping.
So cool.
You know, it's like, so it's not like if you pedaled out on first divide, like to where the road is, for example, and then that was the end of the trail, like you're not fist bumping at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, but you have that little bit of like, I don't know, it's probably like 300 yards of downhill at the end, you know,
and it kicks you out into town too. It's like, you're like,
you're like, this is rad. Yeah. So
man, I really appreciate the way they design that. It's like, man, not a lot of people can do that. That full crescendo of like just the perfect amount of everything. I think it's like, man, seeing that, it's like just so cool. But yeah, you're right. Once you do a trail building and you get absorbed with it, because I know that's one of the things you talk about when you started building trails, like, man, you really do get fully involved. I remember I went up to Brian's probably like 4 weekends in a row. My wife hated me, but like, I just was having so much fun, like just doing the physical manual labor and having fun and learning stuff. And yeah, you get involved building something, and it's like, you can't
trail
put it
that
away.
I was building last year was like,
you were there all the time, like 3 days a week at least, weren't you?
3 and 4 days a week. I was going out there. Like we were going out after work, working until the sun went down, and then riding back with lights, you know, to like, and it was just, I got the bug. And honestly, I'm kind of stoked the way that the weather is here.
Yeah.
That it's so ridiculously hot right now that like building out there or anywhere in this area right now is like, there's no way, you're just not going to do it.
It's brutal.
So then it gives you like this like whole spring, summer, fall time that you're like, nope, don't care.
Yeah.
Not at all. Not even a little bit. But then it's like building up. It's kind of like ski season, you know, like in my mind, I'm like, oh, I know November's coming soon and it's going to start raining. And I'm going to be like, I'm going to get back out there. And like, there's some plans. I got some plans. I know what I want to do, you know? So right on, man. Holy shit. 2 hours.
Flies by real quick, doesn't it?
Yeah. 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 It was a lot of fun, man.
Yeah, super cool. I'm glad we could jump in tonight, man. Jay's talking about hitting Rockville. That's always a good choice. I love Rockville. And sometimes I forget that like Rockville's basically the equal distance for me to like Granite Bay. It's 45 minutes. But like when you hit the wrong traffic, it's an hour and 25 minutes. So it's like, if you have perfect no traffic, Rockville is equal distance to Auburn for me. Or maybe, it's about the same. Cause like, and I forget that I always think Auburn's closer, but you're like, dude, Rockville's a straight shot basically right down the freeway. Whereas Auburn, I got to cross Watt. And it sucks. And nobody in chat cares about my inconveniences, but I'm just here to tell you, it sucks.
I usually do Rockville midweek. So like,
oh yeah,
Tuesdays or Thursdays. So if you ever want to go, let me know.
Sweet.
I work in Davis, so I don't know. I'm not always in the office, but it's real easy then because I'm like 15 minutes closer. You know, all of a sudden that's like a deal breaker or deal sealer. You know.
And honestly, that bridge is the most of the time where the traffic is. So you've already bypassed the bridge or the whatever they call that. I forget what they call it.
Yeah, the causeway.
Causeway. There you go. Yeah. Once you bypass the causeway, that's most of it. Cause that little, all the freeways combine right there and it screws everybody up. I'm sure you guys in chat really care about our traffic problems, but that's one thing I discovered going back to Southern California, by the way. As soon as I started driving through LA and you talk to people there, they talk about traffic like we talk about the weather down there. They're basically like, oh yeah, I took the 405 to the 803 and like that's how they talk. Like when they come into work, they discuss their traffic instead of like us when we come, oh man, it's supposed to be like 80 out today. It's gonna be great. It's the same thing. They just talk about traffic that way. It's so weird. And it happens immediately right when you get down there. Like, oh, how was your drive? I was like, oh, it's fine. I took 405 to whatever. They're like, oh, you should have taken the 203 to the 422 and that would have got you over to like Jesus.
They have some really shitty traffic down there. So.
Oh, it's the worst. It reminded me as soon as I got back why.
A mountain bike podcast, start talking about traffic. Good job, Joe.
Yeah, sorry guys, sorry. It just reminded me why I never want to move down there again. That's why. That's all. That's the only reason I brought it up.
Yeah, definitely. I know exactly what you're talking about there. It's definitely a little outside of my comfort zone. Too much traffic, but
it's the worst. It takes your life away. It
we need to
ruins your life.
Let's definitely get together and ride.
Yes, I'm down. I was meant to go ride today, but I spent all day laying black tarp to lay the gravel down for the studio shed. So yes, I need to go ride this week. The kids are out of town, so let's do an after work ride. Let's do that.
I put in like 35 miles on the American River Trail today.
Oh, nice.
Somehow I accidentally got myself into. Do you need to go? By the way,
no.
I'm okay. Good. If I start ranting, next thing you know, we're gonna be gone another 15 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Somehow, like a week ago or 2 weeks, I think it was a week ago, I like looked at my Strava and it was telling me how many miles I've ridden that week. And it was like, you rode 90 miles. And I was like, oh, dude, I need to do another ride so I can do 100 this week. And I didn't realize how I was fucking up when I did that. Because then this week, it's like Saturday, I looked down at my Strava and I'm like, oh, dude, I'm like only at like 50 miles. I need to hit 100. And so it's like, well, I know I'm going mountain biking tomorrow, but that's only going to be like 15 miles. I'm like, shit, I need to do like 35 miles to hit 100. So now apparently I've made some kind of 100-mile a week goal for myself. And so that's what I'm doing.
My riding schedule sucks so bad right now. It sucks so bad. I spent the following weekend before going to SoCal. I just put I was a shut-in and I was editing the Downeyville video. So I didn't ride at all. I just never even left the house. That's the only way that video was getting done. And then the weekend after that was all family stuff. So I rode Tuesday and Wednesday out down in SoCal. And then I meant to go ride this weekend and the weekend's already over. I don't know what happened. Yeah. I don't know what happened. I've been outside all day, just like working on the shed and trying to build all that. So
but your fitness level seems to be really good. How do you not ride that sporadically and stay in shape for riding, dude? Do you work out, or you just like somehow naturally carry the fitness well, or
it carries over? Like if I hit it hard for a while, it carries over well. I'm gonna start losing it soon if I don't, though. So I do like kung fu during the week and stuff, but it's not regular enough. I just need to. I need to get out. Like, man, I wish I was in the same fitness I was when I came back from Colorado, riding 8-9 days in a row at elevation, just big rides. Man, I've never been so fit. Woo, baby.
I definitely put a lot of miles in. So. But I think I put so many miles in that my legs are like toast all the time.
Yeah.
So I very seldomly am like, oh man, I feel amazing today. Like
maybe that's it. I've got 2-week rest periods. Maybe it's really just building up my core muscle strength.
2-week rest periods. Yeah.
I will say, like doing the trail build. So I wasn't riding per se, but doing trail building stuff. You know how physically demanding that is. So that's partially like you're in good shape if you're out there building trails, man. Like it gets you, it kicks your ass.
Yeah, and where I was building at last year was like a good 1,500 foot climb, of like really shitty climb. You know how that or whoop, almost said it. you know how that climb is out there, and it blows balls, man. And I definitely was in really good shape from riding out there so much.
Oh yeah.
So
I will say, like, I love that climb because it eliminates rookies from dying out there. Like if you got to hike your bike up there, you should not be there. Like if you can make that climb, then you can be considered maybe possible to not die. Like, so there.
I was talking to some guy on the trail the other day about that trail that I built, and it's just some random guy. I was like, "Oh, you're riding over there? Yeah. Do you ride this one?" And they're like, "No, it's not done yet." And I was like, I love that trail's so janky that
Yeah.
people think it's just not done. They're like, that trail's so fucked up. There's no way that this is actually complete. No, that's actually the way it's supposed to be that bad.
That's great. Yeah, it's supposed to be scary, man. It is. Like you get a little intimidated on certain sections for sure.
Yeah, there's spots like that waterfall spot on that trail is still, I'm petrified of that thing.
I already crashed on it once and I only tried it once.
Yeah. I thought I had it like all wrapped up because I had done it a handful of times. I was like, all right, yeah, this is like, I'm good. And then I screwed up one of my like entrances and flipped over the bars and kind of like landed on my butt right at the top of the waterfall.
Yeah.
And ever since then, I can't talk myself into like going down it. And but that's like the thing that's why I love riding out there, is because it's so difficult. It's really the only place that I can go that's close that like pushes my skill set.
Yeah, it's a great point. I almost forget about it sometimes, and I don't know why I do, but you're right. It's like there's very few places that are local that can challenge us. It's always a 2.5 hour drive away or something. Yeah. But yeah, this is something that's just pure gnarliness, and it's like, oh yeah, it is. It sure is. And
all the trails in that area are that way.
Yeah,
it's not like just the one that I took place in. You know what I mean? Like they're all like, oh yeah, you're gonna get worked, man. Like on the climb and the descent. You know? Like, so right on, man. So moral of the story, everybody out there, go build some fucked up trails. That way everybody can have fun. And
100%.
Yeah, you know. So right on. Sweet, dude. Well, I had a great time chatting with you. I would normally ask somebody at this point in time what YouTube channels they like to watch. Have you seen anything recently?
You know what my new favorite channel is, by the way? It's a site called Practical Engineering on YouTube. And it is the coolest thing. Okay, it's called Practical Engineering. The guy is just very plain. He's like a social, no, what do you call that? Like not a social engineer, but somebody who designs roads and stuff. He must have a history in it, because the channel is basically, he'll say, for example, the Oroville Dam failure, and he'll sit down, he's got the report, and he'll break it down in a very manageable fashion and say, this is what happened with the spillway that failed at Oroville Dam, or this is what a culvert does, or this is why the roads are engineered in a certain way, or like, and it's all this really useful stuff that you look outside, you're like, oh man, I didn't even think I needed to know that. But then you watch it and you're like, that is really interesting. Like the idea of a culvert and how the angle works and all this stuff. And I'm like, I could watch those all day long. And who would have thought? But now that I started jumping into them, like they're really interesting. He did one recently on the collapse of that giant satellite dish out in Mexico or whatever, that big one that was in a bunch of movies. GoldenEye film there. You remember that or whatever? And so that one collapsed. It completely collapsed, and they got it all on camera. And like, so they finally got the report out as to what the structurally, why it failed and all this stuff. And he does a really cool video on it. And they got some of the footage in there from the line snapping. It's incredible.
What's it called again?
It's called Practical Engineering.
Practical
and I really like that channel. It's been something that I just really have been fun watching. Right on.
I have been watching. Right. I just like opened up my YouTube and just kind of like, what have I been looking at lately?
Yeah.
And I watched a bunch of that like video or like people's runs from that Red Bull thing that was going on recently. What was that, Hardline or something like that?
Yeah.
Did you see any of those?
No, not yet.
Oh my God. Just like insane. These like professional riders are like amazing. There's this one guy though, I was watching his run. I think he was the guy that won it. And he's like, this has like, you know, typical Red Bull, like 90-foot road gaps, you know, and like, they're like in the air. You're like, that guy has wings. Oh yeah, Red Bull. Okay. Yeah. Oh wait. Yeah. Red Bull gives you wings.
Yeah.
You know, and like, but like at one point he like screwed up this rock section and you can see his feet are off his pedals, like kind of shimmying his bike through this rock section.
Yeah.
And he's like jumping back on his bike and like a second and a half later, like dropping off the side of this thing and floating through the air for like 5 seconds. And you're like, how do you go from being so like off your pedals and feeling like you're probably going to die to like, oh, just jump down this cliff, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
These guys are nuts, man. It's one thing like I've never paid attention to is like the professional racing circuit. And I was talking to Alan about it because he's like really involved with it. He knows he's like, you know, this guy, right? I'm like, I don't know any racer. Like you've talked about this before, how you ran into people you didn't know were professional racers. But I thought like, all right, I say that I'm not into it, but maybe I've just never been exposed to it, which also leads me to the point, like, how has YouTube or something never ever suggested a video to me, like on Facebook cruising through, like, oh, latest mountain bike race? Like they're marketing to the wrong people because I have not once felt like I had a pop-up that say like, oh, check out the latest race. Yeah. But like, I feel like it's an element of the sport that also still brings a lot of people in, like an incredible amount of people into the sport. And like, and maybe it's a different side of it, but maybe I should learn a little bit because like maybe, who knows, maybe I would be stoked on it. I've never really learned the racers. I've never seen a race. So maybe I should at least try it and check it out because like, I don't think I was like, where do you even watch the races? Like, I don't even know how, like, again, how are they marketing? Because if I don't know how to watch the races and I'm a mountain bike YouTuber, what the hell are they doing wrong? Yeah. So like, what's going on over there in their marketing department? What's going on? But like, I think I got to check it out one of these days. I was hoping to make it to the Mammoth Bar Enduro because that sounded pretty rad. But I don't know about standing in a spot and watching people ride by me. It doesn't sound that intriguing. But maybe just like hanging out and talking with everybody would be pretty fun.
Yeah, I kind of forgot that was going on that day. I almost rode up there or went up there to ride, and then somebody reminded me last minute, so I ended up going out to like Salmon Falls and riding out there. And
yeah.
I don't know. I think like. I don't know if I want to see a race on trails that I like to ride all the time. I kind of want to see like somebody go through some shit that I can't ride. You know?
It's true, but then you look at like Dial Health, Derek Teal's video on East Side, where he's like just going through it, or like Jay's probably got some gnarly footage from his race time there, and he said he's coming out soon. But like, dude, when you see these guys do something on a trail that you ride all the time, you're like, oh, I can't even do that. I can't even think about doing that. Like maybe there's something to that, like because they're sending stuff that's crazy, and you're like, I didn't even think that was a line. Like when you go down Confluence and you see that jump over the ravine, I'm like, nope, never gonna do that. And these guys like Max rides bikes and stuff, just no problem sending it through right over the ravine.
You watch Trail Peaks videos in Auburn, you're like, yeah, I'm not doing it right.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing any of this right. I'm like walking my section, and they're like, can you get back on your bike here? I'm like, no, it looks a little scary on the left. I don't know. Sweet.
All right, man. Well, hey, dude, I really appreciate you taking the time to get on the B1KER Bar and chatting with me.
For sure.
As usual, it's always a good time. Time goes by quickly. Any of you guys that have enjoyed the show, hit the subscribe button. Those of you guys that are listening to the podcast, thanks for tuning in. Rate a review if you can. Like if it's a good one. If it's a shitty one, you probably don't have time for it. You shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
But if you enjoyed this and you're watching on YouTube, hit the thumbs up. That's always good. And like I said, if you're listening to this after the fact, leave a comment. Honestly, it's fun to come back and chat with people about things on the show. So even after the fact, so don't feel like just because you're not watching it live, you can't join in on the fun.
Mm-hmm.
And one other thing that aside from my nose itching right now.
As a side note, while you scratch your nose, one of the funnest things I find to do when you go rewatch a live stream on YouTube is the comments are still there. So you can actually go watch the comments real time. And sometimes that's fun.
Yeah, definitely. And I leave those on. So some people turn them off. So
no, I keep them on too.
So. Hey guys, remember one thing, if that's the only thing that you remember today, it only takes a bike to be a biker. So, oh man, I forgot to put my little thingy up. See, now I got to start all over. Remember one thing, guys. It only takes my little thingy. What am I doing here? Next thing you know, I'm going to be like, if you do something, always said do.
It only
takes a bike to be a biker. Get out and be one.